I gotta figure out how to stabilize that. Get a little bit of a rock on that sucker. Yeah, all the growing pains.
Yeah.
Well, Buck Lunak, hey man, thanks for being on, dude.
Hey, thanks for having me.
Yeah, dude. After I figure out this coffee, and we'll cut some cigars, and I'll give a little background, man. Let me top you off, get a little warmer.
Perfect.
Yeah, dude. I don't need a whole lot. I'm pretty lightweight when it comes to caffeine these days. Don't want to burn your hand.
That's good.
All right.
Thank you.
Yeah. So, Buck, I met you through my brother, Rodeo. I'm already spilling. This will be right here if you need to top her off. Just give me the sign. But, man, I met you actually, through, like, physical fitness, I guess, really. And then rodeo and stuff. I think I'd seen you before, at rodeos, but never, like, really made the connection until you and my brother were hammering the gym hard, dude. And that, I wish, I wish I had better technology to show, like, the body transformation that you and him went through. Man, like, I remember when I first met you, I think you were pretty bent. Like, one of your shoulders was up or something, or low.
Yeah, I was pretty bent up just from riding bucking horses. And
yeah.
Taylor Selleck and Caleb, me, we straightened it out. So
yeah, dude. Yeah. You guys are putting some weight up, man.
Yeah, it was crazy.
Yeah, it was awesome. So, met you through that, and you always been a pretty active dude. But, so pro rodeo, did you grow up in Browning?
Yeah, grew up between Browning and Cut Bank.
Oh, nice, man. Yeah, yep. So leads to the next thing, Blackfeet Indian, right?
Yep, Blackfeet Indian.
Yeah, man, that's awesome, dude. Fly fisherman. I actually got a little cheat sheet of all this stuff I was like writing down, but just horseman, you're stuntman, but you do a little bit of acting too, right?
Not much acting. They always say you want to scare a stuntman, give him some lines.
Yeah, man, I can see it, dude. Yeah. Like this was the hardest thing, man. Like this isn't so bad. It was hard at first. I couldn't take a pause.
Yeah.
Because I'd panic a little bit, so I'd start rambling and just the old verbal diarrhea they say,
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, it's different being in front of a camera. It's kind of weird. It takes time.
Yeah, man. Yeah. Yes, you've probably been on camera way more than me then, even though I'm doing a podcast.
Yeah.
How many movies you done now?
I don't know, probably 10 to 15.
Oh, that's awesome.
Somewhere in there.
Yeah, and the big one being Yellowstone too, right?
Yeah, Yellowstone in 23. Pretty lucky on that.
Yeah, 23. Is it?
It's a spin-off of Yellowstone, so it's I did 83 too, so that's the original.
Oh.
How they get up to Montana, and then 23 is once they're in Montana, and then Yellowstone's modern day.
Oh, gosh. Yeah, because it's supposed to be like 1923, right?
Correct.
The one out of there, right?
Yep, 1923. Yeah. So they're like showing the depression of like the ranchers in Montana.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, it's wild to think about it too, man. Like those times. I was thinking about that the other day because like this camper came from my grandpa who lived through it all and was like a full-grown man going through it, and then my grandma who was born into it. So it's like pretty wild times.
It is. Actually, my grandma just turned 99, and she was born in 1925. She still lives alone at her house.
Really?
Yeah.
Jeez, dude. Just tough as nails.
Her mom lived to be 103, so she was born in 1823, I believe.
Oh, wow. Dude.
So that's, and then my dad, so that's 3 generations right there. It's crazy, huh?
That is crazy, man. Yeah. What do you think it is? You think is it a native blood, or what do you think?
Yeah, I don't know. We have some longevity in our bloodlines, but
yeah, same.
Yeah, I don't know if I want to live that old.
I know. It's like it all depends on how functional they are. Like my grandpa who bought this place, he was 97, and we were talking about Charlie Russell earlier. He, as a young man, he ran into Charlie Russell in his later years and had some cool stories about and just like all the stuff he saw. And he's pretty good until he passed. He was, I think, died in his sleep the way I'd love to go, and he was 97, I think, and I was just out of high school when he passed, so I got a long time with him, which was cool.
That is cool. Yeah, I know. I don't know, man. My profession before, riding bucking horses, I was pretty beat up, and then now I'm a stuntman. I don't know, man. I don't know what 90 is gonna feel like. 33 feels pretty rough.
Yeah, man. Oh, geez, dude. You look great, though, man.
Yeah, thank you.
Like, I don't think you don't have any gray hair or anything, right?
No gray hair, no. It's the inside of the joints.
Yeah, man. That's a lot of those rodeo guys are, right?
Yeah,
walking around with, like, 80-year-old bodies because they just get beat up.
Correct.
I'll let you open that because I don't want to ruin your cigar.
Yeah, it's a crazy, man. It's a crazy sport. Like, there's no trainers. There's no like, like football or any other sport. You'd have a physical trainer. You'd have like somebody working on you for your body.
Yeah.
Rodeo, it's literally you drive 10 hours, you jump out, ride, get beat up, sit back in the vehicle. So it's like the whole point of it, I mean, is just it's grueling.
It is
It's a
grueling,
grind, man,
Yeah.
for sure.
And like the only first aid really, especially back in the day, was like whiskey. So it's like, yeah,
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
kill the pain with a little whiskey and keep cruising, And people understand too, the circuit, man, it is so busy. Like there's no time off, because you get time off, you lose points, you lose money,
Yeah.
and you're not gonna make the big dance right at the NFR.
Correct. Yeah, and like I mean, if you do it like I did it for a living, so I mean, if you don't feel 100%, it don't matter. If you think you can win, how beat up you are, then you better nod your face. But then it just compounds, I mean, until you can't. So
Yeah, dude.
it's crazy.
It is, man. Like, it's such a hard sport. I mean, I remember one time, one of your fellow, well, he's a saddle bronker, but oh god, I'm blanking on his name, man. He won the NFR from Great Falls.
Jesse Cruz.
Jesse Cruz. Yeah, I remember the last time I watched him ride, his knees were so blown out that like he made the ride, landed stiff leg in the arena, which must have killed, and then he couldn't even get out. Like he had his boys come in and help him come grab him, like because he couldn't even take a step because he was so beat up. That was right before he had surgery.
Yeah, it's crazy. You just go till you cannot go no more.
Yeah.
You just learn I guess. I mean, you just kind of figure when you know you ain't winning and you're hurt, then that's the time to quit. But like there's no guaranteed check. So
No,
and it costs you money to go.
No health insurance.
No health insurance, ain't nothing, man. It's kind of barbaric.
It is. Well, like you said, it costs you money to enter, so it's not like you're you're getting sponsored by someone and like paying for your what is it?
Fees.
Fees,
Yeah. You're lucky. I mean, I was lucky. I had some good sponsors, but I mean, they ain't gonna pay your mortgage and everything else. So they pay enough to either pay your fees or pay your fuel to get there, and then the rest of it's up to you. So
I'm taking a gamble with this, man. Usually I haven't used that other end. Which one do you use?
I use the big one.
Ah, dang it. Are you good at
You
it?
twist it.
Twist it?
Yeah, like score it first, and then.
I'm gonna watch you do it.
Okay.
Because I keep butchering cigars, and I remember the summer we were on that fishing trip, and my poor buddy Shank, he's like, man, I'll let you do it. And I was like, sure. And then me and him both chewing our cigars mostly down, and then basically they're unsmokable after a little bit,
Yeah, so you score it. Pretty good. Well, actually, what I should have done. Get a little wet.
Oh, a little wet?
Mm-hmm.
Helps that tobacco leaf be a little more forgiving, eh?
Yeah, and then once you kind of get it going there.
Hey.
Pretty good.
Yeah, way better than what I do.
Yeah. I kind of screwed it up, too.
Yeah, it's so hard. Well, you're under pressure right now. Oh, man. A little bit of cherry or something on there. You taste it?
Yeah. Yeah, I like these. I had one earlier this year. It's pretty good.
Yeah, my brother-in-law gave me my first one of these, and yeah, it was really good. Oh, jeez. Let me mess this up, too. Oh, I think that's all right. I mean, a little bit. I'll be eating a little bit of that, but it's not bad.
Let's see. Yeah. Yeah, you did better.
I've definitely done a lot worse.
You just got to score it till you feel like it's going to go all the way through, then go all the way through.
Yeah, that's exactly what happened. It pretty much kind of fell off in my hand there. I don't think you're supposed to use Zippo because of the flavor, but I've had the Zippo forever, so I want to give it a try.
But yeah, the old rodeo days, they are, I mean, I'm grateful for them. They gave me everything that I have now, I guess,
Yeah, man. Well, you can't. I thought I just burned a hole in my sleeve. You can't replace those stories or that lifestyle with anything either, though. Like, you can go watch and be a great fan. You're not getting the experience,
Correct. It's like the freest you'll ever be in your life.
Yeah.
It's when you're younger, it's a lot funner, I guess. I mean, because you're going to every town, biggest party.
Yeah.
And I mean, when you're younger, you don't have a mortgage payment, you don't have all that.
Yeah. Dude.
And then as you get older, you have to settle down and actually take it serious, and then it does become a job.
Yeah.
Still fun, you're still free, but it's a little different.
Yeah, man. Like the pressure a little bit more for the ride, right? Like you make a ride and you're like, can add to the family, or you don't make a ride and you're a little more in the hole. And
Yeah, it's more of a business then.
yeah.
But I mean, everything I have, pretty much everything I have is come from a horse in some sort of fashion.
Yeah.
And so, like, I don't know, I'm pretty proud of that.
Dude, that's huge, man.
Because I'm in 2023 now, and I mean, it's unheard of, you know?
Yeah, well, and I meant to blast this out. I mean, not only are you got this background that I just talked about, like with rodeo, growing up, Western style, I guess I'm trying to say, like, near the res, on the res, right?
Yep.
And
on the res, yeah.
On the res, yeah. So, I mean, you have all this, and then become, two-time Indian National Finals rodeo champion. Three-time. Man, I apologize.
Yeah, that's okay.
That's awesome, man. It's huge.
I wanted 4, but it never came.
Dude, that'd have been awesome, man.
Yeah.
And then also to start your own business, like, I mean, that probably helped do this, which is Buck and Dave's Eggs. If, for any of the folks local, or, if you're passing through, man, this is the place.
Yes,
Get all my eggs from you guys.
Yes, sir.
So much better, man. Like, if you have, like, you run the mill, whatever, like, I don't even know a big company off the top of my head, but, like, it's better than nothing, I guess. But, man, you really aren't getting the flavor and the nutrients. That you see the yolk's a different color with your guys' eggs versus, like, the store-bought, like, more puppy mill like eggs. I don't know what to say.
Yeah. Like, there's a couple reasons. We're a commercial operation. We have 2,000 layers, 2,000 hens. But it's as natural as they could be on a commercial level. They're out every day. We know what they're eating. They're not in no cage. They can go outside and be chickens.
Yeah.
I think that has a lot to do with it. And then also we're so close. I don't think a lot of people know this, but when eggs have like a 90-day expiration date on them.
I did not know.
So like if you buy eggs that are from Washington, for instance, like, a major company, them eggs are probably at least 60 days old.
Oh,
where
wow.
ours you're eating, we're sold out every week, so it's week-old egg.
Yeah, I was just at the good food store and you
Yeah.
were sold out, man. I was like,
Yeah.
I'm happy for you, but I'm
Yeah.
like, dang it.
Yeah, I know, it's crazy. Yeah. And then it just blew up on top of it with the avian flu and everything. It's just it's just crazy. Like, egg prices are through the roof. And then what's crazy is I was born cowboy. I never even raised a chicken until I raised 1,000 of them. And
Really?
Yeah.
This is your first crack at it?
Yeah. So 3 years ago was my first time I've ever even been around a chicken.
Wow. Yeah, I don't have much experience with them either, man.
Yeah. They're their own beast too. I mean,
Yeah.
but at the end of the day, they're an animal. So keep them fed, keep them watered, and keep them happy. And
The basics, right?
yeah, and then there's
Yeah.
quirks. You're just gonna have to trial and error after a while,
Little dinosaurs, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, man. That's awesome, though. I mean, like, and you guys have done this in a pretty short period of time, like, built a good business,
Yeah, for sure. I don't know. We're lucky in a lot of sense. I mean, you gotta be lucky to be successful. But I mean, we worked hard at it. But with COVID, that actually helped us a lot because everybody's home eating.
Yeah, man.
And so then everybody wanted, and then the shortage of food, supply chain, then everybody had to go local. So now people just want local food.
Yeah.
And so it's been very successful.
Yeah.
A stockbroker told me about this idea.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and he's like, hey, man, I actually had a torn bicep, and he was telling me about I should get into this business, and I'm looking at him sideways.
Yeah.
And I'm like, man, I'm a cowboy. Like, I ain't no chicken farmer, man. I don't know what you half insulting me right now,
Yeah, dude. Like,
But I didn't have anything else to do for 6 months, so I looked into it, and I was like, man, there is money in this, And
Yeah.
it's not a lot to start up, and
yeah, well, and that's what I mean. It kind of took me not really by surprise because like you're a go getting dude. So, but you're also the first person to ever tell me they're gonna start raising chickens and doing the egg business. And so I was like, I'm already kind of paused on it. But it was awesome timing because you were just starting out. I was trying to get this rolling, and it was kind of like partly COVID pushed, and I was just fresh off surgery, so I couldn't even like lift a hammer to come help you do anything because I guess to rewind. We were talking about this in my basement, and you came over to help me, or you wired my sauna up for me because I got this sauna luckily right before I had surgery, so I'd have something to do and like stay in decent shape, and And you imparted so much wisdom. I was just telling you about this. You were imparting so much wisdom on me there, and like not even really on purpose, man. I mean, you were just like chalking it up, and I was just kind of watching you do your thing and really just keeping you company. I wasn't doing anything. Felt bad, I couldn't help it. I remember you were telling me about the investment, man, and like the cost that you were putting in and kind of the plan and all that stuff. And I remember like it really kicked me in the ass because I was like dragging my feet on just buying like the equipment we're using right now. Besides the boom arms, I got them as a gift, but like the recorder, the mics, the cable, all the stuff that kind of went into this. And I was like, oh man, like I'm kind of balking at, just spending the money for this. And you're like, man, like the investment I'm putting in these chickens, like you can always make more money. And like you said something about, I'm not trying to be broke, and I'm also trying to maybe get a ranch someday. And I was like, yeah, man, that's just common sense. It's like, yeah, I don't want to be just scratching by, like I want to be able to go afford what I want and go like do like a ranch or something, man. I come from a little bit of ranching family, but like a lot of dairies I found out too, so I was like, man, I mean, I don't really want a dairy, but like it'd be nice to have a barn and my own herd, of horses maybe, and
yeah, for sure,
a couple cows. I'm not really too much into the cow business, but who knows, maybe I will be.
Yeah, for sure. At least get cows you can butcher and you know what they're eating.
That's what I was thinking. Yeah, like all that stuff, like have some chickens, have a cow, and the pig's gonna be a hard sell, with the wife, but
yeah, man. I don't know. I mean, I think there was either people thought I was crazy. I mean, for this, like to start a egg business,
yeah,
or they thought I was a genius. There was only one or two. There was only two. Like they're either like this guy is off his rocker or this guy maybe's onto something.
Yeah.
And I mean, I could laugh now because I'm like, what? Fuck, it's successful.
Yeah, you're doing good, man. You're just so busy, man. Like even to be here, man. I appreciate you so much because I mean, even just a night off like doing this is probably kind of rare, I guess. Right?
Yeah, for sure. That's another chapter, but like it's a balance thing too. I mean, because I could work myself to death.
Yeah.
But then you don't enjoy anything.
Yeah. What's
you get
the point,
to
then?
Yeah, you get to a point where you're just. I mean, you have to find that balance, and that's the hardest thing have figured out since, being a business owner.
Yeah.
Is like because you wanna. I mean, I'm a obsessive person, so I'm gonna check every box. I'll make sure it's all right. But then at the end of the day, some stuff. I mean, I don't like to leave stuff for tomorrow because then tomorrow presents its own problems. But then there's a balance of like, oh, okay, that's lower on the
priority list there.
Yeah. But yeah, no, back to the deal about like, starting the business. I mean, it's, I don't know. I talked to a lot of people about it and it's like, man, if you want to be successful, like the fear of unknown is the greatest fear in the world.
It is, man.
But that's living.
Yeah.
I mean, because if you wake up and you watch TV and sit on the couch every day, you ain't living.
Yeah,
but if
man.
you're scared, like you're living. And, no matter what, and like you're going to live and learn. Maybe that business wasn't for me and it pushed me into a different way and I, lost my money. I mean, whatever,
Yeah.
At least I'm not going to sit there an old man and think, man, I could have done that. Why didn't I do that? Instead of like, I'm going to go do that and I'm going to see if it works. If it doesn't, then I guess I'll move on to the next thing,
Mm-hmm. Oh, dude, that was big for me, dude, because you saying that and the way you said it too was like kind of just the kick I needed. Because I want to do this, but like I think a lot of people have those the famous quotes, what is it? So many men live lives of quiet desperation. Because I think everyone has their whatever podcast, chickens or whatever they might be, man. And then they talk about it, and then they never take that first step. Because that first step is the brutal one. But then once you do it once, it's like, oh, I can do it. You throw yourself out there once. It's not so bad to do it again. You know?
And I mean, you think about it, like, if you're a 9-to-5er, you work every day for the man, and he makes all the money, and you get the luxury of when it's 5 o'clock, you're done.
Mm-hmm.
But you don't get the luxury of the money in that part of the life. So it's like, I mean, you're gonna work. You have to work in this world, no matter what. You might as well work for yourself.
Yeah, I agree.
I mean, I don't know. It takes balls to jump, but like, you're also rewarded if you have balls. You will be rewarded.
Yeah, 100%, man.
Yeah, you might be rewarded with wisdom before you're rewarded with money, but you're gonna get rewarded. You're
Yeah.
gonna learn something from it. I'm not saying take out $1 million loan and
Bury yourself.
bury yourself, but like, you know, you could do it on a scale, on a smaller scale, and see. Like that's kind of
Yeah.
what we did. I
Yeah.
mean, we jumped on a smaller scale and was like, can we actually do this? We're like, we can up. We can up, and I mean, we could up right now, but we're pretty satisfied where we're at. So
Yeah, you guys are in a good spot and starting to get in a few more businesses, and
yep.
I think people too, and talking to you, kind of have the same thing, but it's such a slow burn, right, man? Like success, everyone thinks it's overnight, and I mean, maybe if you're a good singer or some other like superstar talent like that,
Yep.
it probably is overnight. But like for us, in these businesses, it's slow burn, man. Like I don't know anything about technology. I had no idea about this stuff. I do so much research just to figure out these mics because I knew nothing about it. And so, I mean, it took me like seriously about a year of just like researching and doing and talking to folks and figuring it out. And then once I got it launched, then the other problems that come, just like with your chicken business, man.
Yeah.
Once you get the chickens, then you got a bunch of other things that you didn't see coming, but you just tackle them as they come.
Correct. Yeah, and like the part of it is to learn from your mistakes.
Yeah.
You have to be smart enough to learn from your mistakes if you're going to be successful. But like any successful person has failed, but they've learned from their failure and then came back.
Yeah.
But like, I mean, I don't know. It's in my life too. In all my avenues, nothing came easy. Like riding bareback horses. That's the worst learning curve in the world,
Dude.
You just get slam dunked on your head, over and over and over and over, and then all of a sudden one day it clicks.
Yeah.
I mean, there's no stop button or
Yeah.
whoa, I don't want and so like, and even in the movie business, like I didn't go straight to stunts. Like I was a stand-in, and a stand-in is basically if this camera was gonna be on a high power actor, they need to
Fill the background, right?
no, all they have to do is they have to get all the camera set so they want to know like what angle they want and what lens they want, and so you just sit there and they just zoom up on you instead of having somebody, the actor sit there, because he's not going to sit there.
Yeah.
And so I had to do that for my first show. My second show, I was like a background for like the next couple shows.
Oh yeah.
And then I got to do stunts, but my uncle had been in the business a long time, and he made me earn it. I mean, he was like, I ain't just giving this to you. Like, you need to learn. And just like we talked about earlier, you have to get used to being around a camera.
Brutal.
Yeah, so like just sit there all day.
Yeah.
Come in, stand, and you just stand right there for 12 hours, throughout the day, and then that was your job. There's no glory in it.
No.
But it makes you earn it. And I like to earn stuff. It's more righteous at the end of the day rather than not,
Yeah, totally, man, 100%. Because then if like it's just given to you, you don't appreciate it, and then also
you'll be an asshole.
Yeah, that's probably the biggest thing.
Correct. And if you're successful and you're self-made, you have the right to be an asshole. But most of them are not assholes because they were some, just like, I mean, they know the struggle.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I see successful people that are self-made and they're assholes, and I'm like, actually, I respect them because they have that right to be an asshole. They were self-made. They should be a good guy, but they have that right to be an asshole.
Yeah, a little leeway because they had the grind.
Yeah.
But like you said, your uncle, right? Dutch, was it? Is that your uncle?
Yep, Dutch.
Yeah, I just actually I knew about him, but I found out more info from my brother today about it a little bit. But like that, even the lessons that you'll learn that he can't, I mean, like you said, he could help you, but if he gave you everything, you'd miss out on so many lessons along the way,
Correct. Like when you're on set, there's 300 people plus on a lot of them.
Jeez.
With just random crews. You have you name it. You got the people for sound, you got the people for camera, you got the people that are the props. I mean, it just goes on and on, right?
Yeah.
So there's 300 people on there, and if you were just, I mean, that's what a lot of them actors, they've just always been actors and they're assholes. But like, he didn't want me to be an asshole. He'd just be nice to everybody because like they're all there to have a job, and they don't get no glory.
No,
they're not
dude.
on the camera,
Yeah.
So just be kind, and like I think that was one of the main lessons you want to teach me. Like, don't take this shit for granted. You're not that important, you know.
That part too. Yeah, you're not that.
Yeah.
And the thing is too, like even if you're the most important person on the set, like time doesn't care. Like eventually you're not. Like you're gonna move on, you'll be gone, and
Correct.
if you weren't a good guy, that'll come out in your like documentary or people will talk about it. Like,
Yeah.
You always hear that about, people who weren't nice to the people who were helping put the show on. You can't do that by yourself, It's all those people, like you said, those 300
Yep.
people that help you get it going.
Yeah, there's a job for everybody, and I mean, you might be doing this stunt and it's just you, but them other guys made it work too.
Yeah.
Like they had their job to set this up.
Yeah.
So it's not like you'd be nothing without them, So
Yeah, and then all these great movies. People go to see whoever, fill in the blank for famous actor or actress, but like it doesn't mean anything if there's not the great director and all the other people that throw it together, know.
Yeah.
And to lose sight of that, it's poor, I guess. Poor is the word.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know.
Bad character, I don't know.
I don't know. I've had pretty good luck with actors.
That's good, man.
Yeah, most of them are pretty cool. I mean, a lot of it too is they're horseback with us and they're not expert horsemen.
Yeah.
So they're kind of vulnerable. And so you see them a different light because they know you'll save their ass.
Yeah.
So they're going to be nice to you,
Yeah.
They're like, I better be nice to this guy. He might let me die.
Yeah, exactly.
Because they're scared. I mean,
Yeah.
a lot of the time. I mean, a horse is a scary thing,
It is, man. Especially when you haven't been around, Like, you're like, I don't know. And lights and all this random stuff around, man. Not in its element, And you're not in an arena with just you and the horse.
Yeah, there's no, I mean, a lot of them do go through cowboy camp. They'll learn the basics, but
I heard that.
Like, I mean, I've been riding since I was little, so like my experience compared to theirs, they can't learn that in a week.
No, man.
And they're not gonna learn it in a week. It's. I mean, you could ride your whole life, and there's still more to know. Like you'll never know it.
Yeah, I talked to so many people about this a ton, like my little brother just the other day, and like all the horsemen from Whitehall that I grew up knowing. Luckily, I wouldn't say I'm like the best cowboy, horseman or anything. I'm not really much of a cowboy, to be honest. Like, not much. I don't do much roping, but I've been around horses a good chunk. Pretty much my whole life, actually, if I think about it, And there's a certain body language, and all that you pick up. Like, I don't know, man. You can feel a horse. You come up and you're like, all right, this horse isn't too pumped to see me. Let's figure this out. Yeah. Or you can be like, man, all right, this horse is really pumped. Like we'll see. And then all of a sudden it's different too. You put the saddle on or bit in its mouth. It could change on you.
It's crazy because a horse will allow you to do everything wrong and still do the right thing. Yeah. But at any time they can throw you off. You're trusting that animal.
Yeah.
And like we do it all the time. I even do it. Like I like to start a lot of young horses. I might do everything wrong. And that horse is still going to allow me to make every mistake and still deal with my shit and not. He could throw me off. I mean, he could try.
Yeah,
but,
he could try. Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, they can throw you off at any time,
Yeah.
And so.
Yeah, man.
It's pretty crazy.
It is.
It's a crazy connection,
It is. And you hear a lot of hunting stories too, where the horse like took care of a person. Going in and out of hunting camp. Sometimes in hunting camp in a blizzard, in the dark. And the horse knows where it's going, so you just got to trust that horse to make it,
Correct, yeah. Yeah, it's a big trust thing. I mean, they do a lot with, now there's a lot with the veterans with horses, and those guys have PTSD. Yeah. And that's really good success because them guys with PTSD will not trust a human. I mean, they cannot trust a human unless you were in the foxhole with them. They're not going to trust you. Yeah. But they'll trust that horse because at the end of the day, they know that horse has, he's gonna do them good. Yeah.
There's that weird human, we were talking about just a minute ago, like before we started on the podcast, about that kind of weird human connection between horses and humans, and especially with Indians, Native Americans, like we were talking with us, me being part Native and you being Native, like I think that's, I don't know, the connection I grew up with and just was passed down, through my family or what it was, but yeah, I mean, there's definitely a different kind of connection I have than I do with a dog,
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. It is crazy. I mean, I don't know. Like my history, I mean, I could go a ways back, on my history. But like kind of how I was here is, there was a guy, my grandpa, his name was John Hall. He's in, so there's a famous cowboy named Teddy Blue. And so he brought the cattle north, and he's got a book, I think it's called Point 'em North. Anyway, my grandpa's mentioned in there with him. Oh. My grandpa comes to Montana with cows, and I don't know how it all unfolded, but he ended up marrying my other grandpa's daughter. His name was Sits in the Middle, and he was the son of Mountain Chief, which was also my grandpa.
Oh.
They were war chiefs. So, like, in the tribe, there was a chief, but then there was a war chief, like a general.
Oh.
So, just to, like, some random white guy comes up and marries a war chief, he must have been a bad dude, and then that's kind of how we stem through that.
Oh, yeah.
So, like, I come from a long lineage of, like, horsemen.
That's cool.
And so I'm very proud of that, and I do think about that a lot, like, what my grandpas think of me. I mean, I make a living off of a horse to this day.
Yeah, man.
And, like, I mean, I'm part of a horse. Another quick little backstory is my grandpa, Mountain Chief, he was a war chief, and they were raiding horses from the Crow, and he had his favorite horse was a black horse, and they were raiding horses. The horse gets shot out from underneath him. He's got to leave his horse. Leaves his horse. The Blackfeet camped and wintered in Bozeman. And so he's sitting in Bozeman in the winter camp, and this black horse comes running into camp to him.
Whoa.
So there's a black horse society. So when I won all 3 of my world titles, my last horse was a black horse.
Really?
Yeah.
Whoa, man, that connection. So the black horse that came run up to him, random horse, never seen it before.
No. That horse, same horse that got shot out from underneath him, came back to him.
Back? Oh.
He got healed up by the crows,
Yeah.
and as soon as he's healed up, he ran back to the camp.
Whoa, man, almost like a smart horse. Like, yeah, let you guys take care of me for a little bit, and then cruise back to where he belonged. Man, that connection.
So there was our old chief, Earl Old Person. He just died.
Oh, sad.
But when I got honored by the tribe after winning my world titles, and he gave me that Black Horse Society song.
Really?
Yeah. So it's pretty cool.
That's so cool, man.
Yeah.
Dang, dude. There's so many layers to you, man. Like, I've known you for a long time, and I feel like I just scratch the surface every time we talk. You know?
Yeah.
Man, and I didn't introduce you right, man, because I didn't say that you were a bareback champion. So for folks who don't know much about rodeo, rough stock is 3. It's like 3 sports, right? So you got your bareback usually starts off the rodeo, and then your saddle bronc is like 3/4 in, right?
Yep.
And then bull riding is what ends typical.
Last.
Yeah, last. What ends the rodeo typically is bull riding. So like that's your rough stock guys. Guys. And so man, the toughest, hardest job I think personally. You got some tough, bulldoggers and stuff. For people who know, that's one of wrestles steer on the TV. I'm trying to think of a way to describe it, layman terms. But yeah, man. So saddle bronc, and most of the time people see him nowadays. You had it too, like the big brace.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean it's brutal, man. Just getting whipped back and to keep your balance when all that's going on. I mean, if for people who have never watched rodeo, they gotta see. It's so athletic. Like people think it's just like a tough guy who's hanging out with strong arm, but it's so much more.
Correct. Yeah, you're using muscles you never even knew. Yeah. I mean, you are literally you want to spur the horse from the neck to your rig and every jump before their feet hit the ground and make it look good.
Yeah.
I mean, you got to make it look good because you are judged on how good it looks. How much are you in control, And then bareback riding, the equivalent to getting in a car wreck 40 miles an hour every time we nod our head.
Oh.
So, like, there's a lot of those. It's like a fist fight. So you're having this horse, when he kicks over, a lot of times he'll hit you with the back of his ass on top of the head. And there's a lot of times where, like, I mean, you're one jump away from going nighty-night.
I bet, man.
But you just got to keep hitting back.
Jeez.
Or, I mean, you're surviving.
Yeah.
So if you don't set your feet, he's going to flip you out there anyway, and you're not going to win anything. But, like, the bucker horse, like, really rank horses, that's what they're going to do. They're going to test you. And, I mean, you're going to a fight.
Yeah.
And I mean it sounds psychotic, but every time I rode I was prepared to die. And I think that's the mindset you got to have.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I could have died.
Yeah.
I mean, as you're on the edge, you're riding lightning.
Yeah.
And so, like, you slip off a little bit,
Yeah.
You're dead. I mean, you're
in so many different ways,
correct. And like, we bind our hand in, so it ain't like we can just let go.
Yeah.
We have to physically get out of that too.
I wish I could describe that, or I wish I had one, but it's almost, I mean, it's a little block, but it looks almost like a little triangle kind of deal, right?
It's like a suitcase handle, basically.
Yeah.
It's like a suitcase handle that you wedge and they're all custom fit to you. You custom fit it to your hand. crack your hand back and you're locked in there.
Oh man.
And you're strapped to a 1,500-pound animal no matter what.
Yeah, and like people don't know this either. It's not like this is just some random horse that's in a field. Like these are athletes bred like for the sport, and some most athletic, strongest animals. And that hind end, that ass that's hitting you in the back of the head, is rock hard muscle.
Correct. It's like concrete.
Yeah.
And they're bred just like you'd breed a horse for running, race horses, or you'd breed I mean, that's what they're bred for. They're bred to be bucking horses. That's what they want to do. And a lot of people, like, there's a lot of criticism against it, but it's like they live the best life.
Yeah.
They work 15 times a year. They go to a fair, a cool-ass place.
Yeah.
They go buck. They go home, live on the prairie, get fed oats, and then load back in a semi a couple weeks later and go to another town.
Yeah.
Like, they have the best life. Like a saddle horse, that's even more sad. They have to get rode every day.
Oh yeah, true,
Like
man.
these guys are outlaws, and
Yeah.
they you know, they live a great life. And I mean, you're not going to take care of this animal. I mean, that's your livelihood if you own the horse.
Mm-hmm.
And if that horse is good, then them horses are treated better than a lot of people, you know?
Yeah, I bet. Yeah, a happy horse probably going to perform better. And then, like you said, man, it's, you know, for one night, maybe they get rode for 8 seconds. It's like no time at all, like you said, man. And then they get caught up and put back to their friends and happy, you know,
Yeah,
they're
then they
happy.
go back to the range and tell their friends, "Oh yeah, I bucked this guy off,"
Yeah.
or you know,
Yeah, exactly.
Like it's a cool thing. It's a great. I mean, if I come back, I'd like to be a bucking horse.
Yeah,
It's a cool life.
Oh, absolutely, man. I remember even when I was real young, when Bodacious got retired, and they did like a little thing on him, and they showed where he was at, like living on some ranch in Texas or wherever he ended up. It was like, man, like that was the first time I realized, even as a kid, I just didn't think about it. It like wasn't like I was thinking anything about bulls. And I see Bodacious, you know, this legend just hanging out, and someone just like feeding him and petting on his head, and I was like, man, I'm so scared of that bull.
Yeah,
You know, and someone's petting his head.
Yeah,
You know?
yeah. They're rock stars, you know, for sure.
Oh, they really are, and like the bloodlines that follow too. I mean, there's so many offshoots of Bodacious. You know, I think still, I don't know. Actually, don't know. I'm kind of off my game on that, but I think they're still out there.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, if something's great, they're gonna breed to it, you know.
Yeah, almost lost it.
Saved it.
Yeah. And there's, you know, I want to talk to you about fly fishing and stuff too, but I want to talk to you kind of more about the horse thing that we were just talking about. So, Blackfeet come from Nez Perce or Nez Pierce. It's weird. My grandma called it Nez Pierce, but everyone around here calls it Nez Perce. And we didn't grow up with the tribe, you know, like on Hill 57. I talked about this in the last podcast. Like somehow my family ended up on Hill 57, which is kind of like a pseudo tribe, kind of more like a slum, you know, and kind of outskirts of what was Great Falls, which is now almost like in Great Falls. But so I don't know much about my history. So you were telling me some cool stuff about the Nez Perce having Appaloosas, and
Yeah.
I'll let you take it. But
Yeah, it's a crazy thing. I was thinking about this. The Nez Perce were the only tribe with Appaloosas. So we all rode. Everybody else who had horses in North America rode a Spanish barb. They all come from the Spanish or the Mexicans or anyway.
yeah,
So I Googled where did the Appaloosa come from, and Google can't really tell you. They say, well, we think they come from China, but we don't know.
yeah,
And so I was like, well, they definitely didn't come from the south of the border, because why would no one else be riding Appaloosas?
oh, yeah,
Like, that have been spread all the way through the United States. But the only
Yeah.
person to have it was the Nez Perce. So I was talking to my dad about it, and he was like, man, that guy probably prayed for him, and that's why they came to him, you know?
yeah, dude.
And so, but I mean, I don't think, I guess somebody might know, but I don't know. But that makes sense to me. I mean, because it's like there's no Appaloosas unless some guy brought them across from China, and the only place he ended up was with the Nez Perce. And how did they meet this guy on a boat
Yeah.
to get the horses? Like,
Yeah.
it makes no sense that would even happen.
Yeah, and not like, yeah, just like it wasn't like there was just one. You know, they had many of them, right? Many
Yeah, they had a
Appaloosas.
herd.
Yeah, herd
Yeah,
Appaloosas.
like
So it's like
Thousands.
yeah. Oh wow. Jeez,
Yeah.
makes sense.
I mean, they'd breed them,
Mm-hmm.
but I mean, it'd take you a lot of horses to make 1,000.
Yeah, man.
I mean, if you start off with I guess if you start out with 100, it, you know, and
Did the math on that. It probably
Yeah.
might not take you too long.
yeah, but I mean, still,
Yeah, still, I mean, you have to find the 100 or 50 or wherever you got them from.
yeah. Where would you get these? And what would you pay? You know, I mean,
Yeah.
I think they came from Prayer. You know.
Yeah, and I totally believe in it too, man. I mean, we were talking about before, you know, a good book by Dan Brown. I'm trying to think about actually the name of that book. But one of the books by Dan Brown, that's what the lead character's sister was studying like noetics or something she called it. It was basically the same thing. Is like if everyone's thinking the same thing, it puts some kind of bigger signal on the world. So like the whole tribe's praying for Appaloosa, or even just like a couple powerful people, man. Like even just more than one. It puts out a little bit stronger message, and maybe the Appaloosa shows up. I don't know.
Correct, yeah, because they were a different breed. Like the Spanish Barbs are little. They
Oh,
probably
really?
weighed 800 pounds.
No way, I didn't know this.
These Apps were big, stout mountain horses,
Yeah.
and so that's what they needed.
Yeah.
But the Spanish Barbs weren't big. They weren't big horses. They were little.
That's wild to think about, especially because the Nez Perce haven't really moved around too much. I mean, they're still pretty much in their homeland, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
Yep.
Because one of the guys I was talking to, he was telling me that he's been to like the origin site where the Nez think that we came from, which is a super cool story in its own. I don't want to butcher it, but it's up Highway 12 going towards Kuski. I think Kuski, and then like some other cool spots that he found that were like in the history. So I was like, oh man, it's kind of cool. Like that my tribe didn't get moved. Like unfortunately, so many tribes, like we were talking earlier, got pushed out of their homeland.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, a lot of tribes got pushed.
Yeah.
Pushed west. They had to. I mean.
Yeah, just run away from the pressure and all the bad stuff that came around with, sticking around their home country.
Correct.
Yeah, sad. But man, that's so cool. And the connection we were talking earlier about just humans and horses, and especially with Native Americans, man, like even if. One of the theories was that I heard was it came from settlers out east, and then a couple horses got loose and made their way out to the west. Still, like, if you've ever been out in the Great Plains, it's like, how are you going to catch one horse in the middle of nowhere? I mean, maybe a lot of patience is what I heard too, but I mean, I think there's some kind of connection where the horse came to Indians.
Yeah, for sure. I think they came from the Spanish, which makes sense to me, and then through tribes, they would trade horses, and then they just dispersed them up through, because we were dogmen before we were horsemen.
Oh, really?
And so in Blackfeet, like, so we were nomad or whatever.
Nomadic,
Yeah, we'd follow the buffalo.
Mm-hmm.
And so we'd use dogs with travoises, and that's where we'd just follow the buffalo herds. And so we'd use dogs before we used horses, and then as soon as we got horses, then we used horses to hunt. It changed the whole game.
Yeah.
It's like the car coming to people. Like, I mean, it's going to change the whole game.
Yeah.
But the native word for horse is pony komita, and what it actually means is elk dog.
Oh, really?
They didn't know. I mean, there's no word for a horse, but that's what they described them as. Is they're like, well, they're useful like a dog, but they kind of look like an elk.
Yeah, big like an elk.
Yeah, so like, and they move fast, so they're like, this must be an elk dog.
Yeah.
So yeah. Wow, crazy.
That is crazy, man.
Yeah.
That was really cool. And so before the horses, I mean, when they were doing the horses, a lot of those buffalo jumps were kind of the thing too, right? Like find a good cliff, because otherwise, bring down a huge animal like a buffalo, it's going to take some doing.
Yeah, they'd have a guy, and he would run with a buffalo hide, and there was a rope at the end of that cliff, and he'd jump off that cliff.
Whoa, just lead him there, eh?
Yep, they'd start chasing them.
Oh, whoa.
Like, I've been around buffalo enough. They're pretty honky. Like, they're a pretty hot animal.
Yeah.
So they're pretty interested in if you're running around like a retard.
Yeah.
They're probably going to come. Curiosity cures the cat.
Yeah.
And so then once they got them running, they're like sheep. Once one goes, they all go.
Yeah.
And so they just go.
Oh,
and then you could mass butcher. I mean, if you had to feed 1,000 people, it'd take you a long time to be slinging arrows in these. And then how many would you get before they'd scatter?
That's a good point, man. Because like my brain always went to, I'm feeding my family, like as big as my family could be, and I was thinking, oh yeah, a couple buffalo. But like you said, you're feeding a whole tribe, so you need more than a handful of buffalo to do that.
Yeah, you'd need a lot, and then you used everything from the buffalo.
Yeah.
They used the hide, the bones. They used everything. There wasn't nothing they did not use from a buffalo.
Yeah, that's so cool, man.
Yeah.
That's why, like, you hear stories of when the train came out and they just slaughter them on the train and leave them, and how sad Indians were, man. And makes sense, man. A lot of good meat that they just left lay,
Correct, and like my theory on that is like the government needed us. So like, Lewis and Clark come to this country.
Mm-hmm.
Blackfeet were the only ones who tried to kill him, but anyway.
Oh, really?
Yeah, Camp Disappointment.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, so I grew up right next to Camp Disappointment. So what happened was Lewis and Clark, Lewis split off because Clark Fork's up here. So they went north, and he was looking for other rivers and exploring around. And he caught up with some Blackfeet boys. They're like 14-year-old boys.
Yeah.
So they camped with them. And them boys tried to steal their horses.
Oh.
And so the Lewis shot him, killed him. But like the theory is that the Blackfeet chased him, and he was scared.
Yeah.
He hauled ass back to Clark.
Clark and the rest.
Jumped on Clark, said we gotta go.
Mm-hmm.
You know, but the government gave them little coins to give out to all the tribes.
I didn't know
So
that.
when they died, they left them coins on them boys, just basically saying like, shit got sideways. We didn't want to kill them.
Oh.
And I think that, you know, I mean, the greatest privilege as a native would be to steal your horse.
Yeah.
And so they were just trying to make a name for themselves.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, so Lewis Clark came out to this country, and then they reported back. And they said, what do we need to get settlers out there? Is this suitable? And they said, man, it is and it isn't. There's too many predators. So I'll give you a little history here.
Yeah,
There's too many predators in the country. Like, you can't have little, you know, Susie out there and a grizzly bear, a wolf come, because they were all plains animals, come on and kill her.
Yeah, yeah.
And so, like, we got to eradicate the predators in order. They weren't even thinking about the natives because they had no quarrel with the natives. They had no beef with the natives. All besides Blackfeet, they all helped them.
Yeah.
So they weren't thinking, like, we got to get rid of the Indians. They said, we need to get rid of the predators. So they said, all right, cool. So they sent out a group of men, big group of men. They were called wolfers. And the wolfers were bad men. They were like criminals, and they suicide mission.
Ooh.
So they're like, go out here with this poison that goes 3 times. I forget what that shit's called, but it's banned now. So like they'd shoot a deer, put poison in it, then the a predator would eat that, and then a bird would eat. So then he'd die. Then the bird would eat that. The bird would die, and then something would eat the bird, and that would die.
Ooh.
So they were just wiping animals out.
Yeah.
But what happened was these wolfers weren't good people.
Mm-hmm.
So when they were out here, they started killing the Indians.
Oh.
So this when shit went sideways.
Oh.
I'll explain this all to you.
Yeah,
Because
yeah.
a lot of people don't know this.
No, I didn't know.
So because the trappers and the Indians were friends.
Because they traded and stuff.
They traded, and
Yeah.
the Indians would be like, you can't go to that mountain because that's ours.
Yeah.
But you can go over there. But don't go. We'll kill you if you go over there. But like, you're cool. Go over there.
Yeah, yeah.
And they're like, all right, cool. You know, I'll go over there. There's plenty around.
Yeah, I don't want to die.
I don't want to die, so I'm gonna go over there. And so anyway, these wolfers come out. They start killing Indians, and the government they were criminals. They didn't give a shit about these people.
Yeah.
You know, and so that's when shit went sideways. So as soon as the settlers started moving out, if you walk through a door and you're punched in the face, the next time you walk through that door, you're gonna come swinging.
Yeah.
So as soon as the settlers come out, shit was already sideways.
Yeah.
And so the Indians just started killing. They're like, "Fuck, these guys are bad people. They're killing us for no reason. Like, we're gonna kill back."
The trust is broken.
So the trust was broken, and that's where everything went sideways. So the Indians really aren't to blame. Like,
Yeah.
and most westerns portray the Indians as bad people.
Yeah.
I mean, up till now.
Yeah.
But like, the Indians, it's like we all were in harm. I mean, we fought within each other, and we still would have probably fought. But shit went so sideways.
Yeah.
But get back to the buffalo. The government wanted the Indians gone, and so you sent some guy from Europe. Said, you want to be a U.S. citizen? Yeah. Join the cavalry.
Oh.
So they sent him out there. So you send some guy from Europe that had never seen this country compared to these people that have been here for thousands of years. They're gonna smoke your ass.
Yeah.
They know all these coolies, and they know how to get around, and they're gonna smoke your ass.
Yeah.
So they're like, man, we can't keep up with these Indians. So like, well, how do you get rid of, so you start killing their food source.
Yeah. Food
And
chain.
and then pretty soon you start guessing, and then you limit to where they are. And so that's why they eradicated the buffalo, was to
Starve 'em out.
eradicate us.
Yeah.
And so the buffalo were just, it was just innocent bystander that got whacked,
Yeah. 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 Like casualties of war, really. You know.
for sure.
Man.
Yeah.
Yeah. 'Cause I kind of heard that, but I didn't know the whole story behind it. And that's what you gotta think. Like, any conflict, right? Like, knowing both sides. I got the same thing. I got a weird burn here, but yeah. There's something else that's gonna tag onto that about that with the bison, the buffalo. Oh, something interesting too with like the vast size of a herd, and I didn't hear this until Steve Rennell was talking to somebody about it, but he said like you know, Indians had different measurement for everything, but a lot of times, like, you hear Indians say, like, a 2-day herd. And I was like, what 2-day herd? But it took 2 days for that herd to go by them.
Yeah.
So it was a 2-day herd. I was like, that's that big, you know?
It was huge.
And they're just grazing. They're not going fast, right? They're just grazing their way around, you know?
They just graze their way around.
Man, could you imagine seeing that, dude?
I
would give a lot to be able to see something like that, dude.
Yeah, for sure.
Man.
Buffaloes are weird, man. I did a show with some buffalo, and they run 300 head through me, and it was the most terrifying shit I've ever had.
I bet, man. And you've been around tons of cows.
Yeah, buffalo are way worse. We'd have to move them buffalo on a set. Then buffalo would they had young calves on them, and then buffalo turn it on a dime and chase you. And it's not like they're just going to chase you 100 yards. They're going to chase you like a half a mile.
Really? I didn't know they had that kind of... And they're fast.
Fast.
Right?
They'll hook a horse in the flank and flip him over.
No way.
Mm-hmm. Got your horse.
I heard about that, but yeah, man, that makes sense. You wouldn't think, too, because they got those little pokers. Mm-hmm. But, man, they're good with them. They know exactly where they are.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's a pretty crazy animal, really.
It is, man. Really impressive, you know?
Yeah.
And they turn different, right? So, like, a cow turns with its ass, right? Like a bull.
Yep.
Pivots on the front. And then, but a bison buffalo turns on the front, right?
Yeah, he'll turn on the front, and they're little in the front.
Yeah.
So they're not very wide, so they can turn like
really quick.
They're built downhill.
Oh yeah.
So they're built all front end.
Yeah.
But we'd be chasing them, and they'd hit a badger hole.
Mm-hmm.
And like it should trip them up, and they would just keep running.
Oh,
they'd just be running on their head, and then until their legs caught. They didn't even stop. They wouldn't stop.
Oh man.
It was the craziest shit I've ever seen.
That'd be wild to see.
I'm like, man, there ain't no way getting where we're like this thing. Fuck, your horse trips.
Oh.
He ain't tripping.
No, man.
Yeah.
God, it's scary. So scary. Because I remember hearing about it back when I was really young. Because it seemed like for some reason that was kind of the talking point back then about having a buffalo and rodeo. Like, well, maybe we should start riding buffaloes in the 90s or whenever that was.
Yeah.
And it's probably a conversation that always circulates. And then I remember a bunch of old boys. And I was just listening, so they weren't like talking to me, but they were talking about how gnarly it would be to have a buffalo in a rodeo. You know, like there's no catching him, there's no putting him back in. You know, like probably gonna kill the cowboy. You know,
and if you rope a buffalo around the neck, you'll break its windpipe.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's not like a cow.
Yeah.
They'll break their windpipe.
Oh, whoa.
So you have to rope around the horns, but I mean their horns ain't really rope. I mean they're not that ropeable.
No, I didn't know that, man. So even a cow, like a bull, like if you break a windpipe, oh no, you won't because all the muscle.
Yeah,
but
it's further up in them.
Ah.
They're jugular, where a buffalo is down low.
Oh, and they do have.
And they don't got no muscle on their neck. Like they're not. They don't really. Like they look big. Yeah. I mean they are big, but they're not wide.
True.
They're really like if you ever killed a buffalo, like you would. There's probably 6-8 inches of hair on them. That makes them look bigger than they are. So they're pretty thin.
Kind of makes sense too, because like you see a picture of them, like especially because their hind end is a little bit more shaved down. It looks really little, and then the front end is where all the fur is. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I guess more muscle there too. But man, that's wild, dude.
Yeah, and like the Indians when they killed them off horses, you know, like they were such great horsemen. They'd drop the reins because they'd shoot them with bow and arrow, and then how they'd do it is they'd spine them. So they'd shoot them in the back, and they'd run an arrow through their spine.
Oh.
And so they'd still be alive, but they couldn't move.
Oh, wow.
Because they're really hard to kill.
Yeah, yeah.
And so, like, you'll find, like, archaeologists will find, like, you know, fossils of buffalo, and the buffalo will have an arrow head through its spine.
Whoa.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's nuts, man. Yeah, because I've heard of, like, people recovering arrowheads out of spines, but I didn't know it was like on purpose, you know. I thought maybe it was like just a wild shot, you know.
No, because you'd be up there horseback.
Yeah.
And like, where are you gonna shoot? You know, you're gonna spine that thing. You're gonna want to spine him. Now, you could run all the arrows in his shoulder you want.
It's not gonna do much to him.
Yeah, and that's like they had longbow. I mean, they're powerful. They're powerful enough to go through your spine, but they ain't gonna like blow through it like our bows and blow through the other side, you know?
Yeah, like a compound.
Yeah, and shoot all the way through with a broadhead.
Yeah,
you know,
true. Like, and a broadhead, it's like razors.
Yeah,
versus,
like a stone.
Yeah, stone that you sharpened. You know?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, it makes a lot of
crazy.
sense, dude. Yeah. And even the arrow shaft back then, you know, made of wood and not like a, you know, carbon fiber, you know, and things we're shooting now, you know. I don't even know what my arrow's made out of now. I think it's like carbon fiber or something, you know.
Something,
Versus like, Even aluminum shafts when we were
Yeah.
kids, you know, like
Compared to some willow.
yeah, compared to some willow, exactly,
Yeah.
man.
Oh,
Man, yeah, like so many things I want to talk to you more about the history stuff, but I don't know enough to even ask the right questions. I feel like.
yeah. I mean, I think that's a pretty. I mean,
Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot to know. I
Yeah.
mean, like, but your history books ain't gonna teach you this. But there is
No.
books out there.
Yeah.
You just have to dig for the right books to find the right books.
Yeah.
Although,
My mother-in-law reread "Bury My Heart in Wounded Knee," and she told me not to read it because it's gonna make me mad.
yeah,
Cause
yeah, no,
what happened there?
it is. But the craziest. So this is such hidden shit. But the biggest massacre ever to happen happened to Blackfeet. It's called the Marias Massacre. It happened on the Marias. It's up by Shelby.
Oh.
So what happened was actually my grandpa kind of helped cause this massacre. There was a rancher in Montana. His name was something Clark. He was from Helena.
Oh, gotcha.
So anyway, he had in his band. So the Blackfeet were in bands. So there might be, I don't even know, man. There's probably 10, 20,000 of us. But you'd be in bands, and that's how we went from basically. They talk about the lava rocks in Idaho to Edmonton. It was that was all Blackfeet land.
Whoa, like the lava rocks in Idaho, kind of by like Du Bois
Correct.
down there. Yeah, all the way up to
So that
Canada.
yeah,
Edmonton?
so we run the whole front.
That's a giant piece of ground. For people listening, check a map out. That is a giant piece of ground.
Huge piece of ground.
Yeah.
But they're like, how we could do that is we were all in bands. So there might be Luke's band he's down there, I'm over here, and we go to our hunting spots. And
Oh.
you'd go there every year, the same spots.
Oh, gotcha.
And so like we'd get together in the winter, and because winters are hard and you need people, and
Yeah.
then in the summer you'd spread out and go hunt
Yeah.
and get away, and then you'd come back in the winter. But so anyway, so my grandpa's band, they guy on man, I'm drawing a blank on his name. You could look this up though. You could look up the Marias Massacre.
Yeah.
His wife or daughter got like raped by this rancher.
Oh, no.
So they showed up to this rancher's house, and they're like, "Hey man, like you gotta make this right."
Yeah.
Guy got cocky. They threw him in the well, killed him.
Oh.
Well, we booked it to Canada. My grandpa booked it to Canada.
Yeah.
So there was another band, the Heavy Runner band. They already made peace with the government. Like this rancher supplied all the beef for the military.
Oh, gotcha.
So he was a somebody.
Yeah.
And so the government's like, well, we need to go fucking retaliate.
Oh.
And so we're gonna hunt down this Mountain Chief band.
Yeah.
Well, my grandpa fucking said, fuck you, and I'm in Canada.
Yeah.
They done figured out that they can't go across Canada.
Yeah. Smart move.
So he goes to Canada. Well, the Heavy Runner band, they already made peace. He flew American flag above his teepee.
Oh.
And it's like in a bowl where this is. And it's like, I want to say it's right around now is when the Marias Massacre happened. It was like in January, February. And the scouts, the Crows were scouting. The Crows come upon the Heavy Runner band. They said, hey, this is the wrong band. It's this you don't want this guy. General Baker is the general, and he was a drunk. And like, there's a guy in his company who wrote about this.
Oh.
And he's like, he was a piece of shit.
Yeah.
He was just a piece of shit. So he said, well, an Indian's an Indian. They opened up on them, and they killed over 300 of them. And they were mostly women and children because the men were starved out because we were stuck in a river bottom with no food. They were out hunting.
Oh, no.
And so they killed them, and like they laid there in the freaking snow. And it was like -20 out that day, and they opened up Gatling guns on them.
Oh, no.
So that is actually the biggest massacre. They'll talk about Columbine. They can talk about all the shit they want to talk about, but that's your history.
Yeah.
It happened to us, and they won't talk about it.
Yeah.
I mean, they're never going to admit this.
Yeah.
I mean, they'll admit it, but they'll never say, like, the biggest massacre happened to these people. They're going to tell you Columbine or Vegas or something, you know, but it ain't. It happened to us. But same with Wounded Knee.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not taking anything away from Wounded Knee, but we have that one on them, which is super sad.
It is sad. Yeah. It's a tragedy, man.
It is. It's like we were, at the end of the day, we were going to be a conquered people, but the way they went about it was wrong.
That's what I was thinking. Yeah, like
Chemical warfare and shit. Like,
yeah.
there was a better way. Broken treaties, all this, like, didn't need to happen.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Like, there was a different way they could have went about it, to conquer us rather than the way they did it. Pretty barbaric,
Yeah, and like you said, especially because the way that I've heard it, is that a lot of times that the tribe's guard was down because they, like you said, they already made peace. They were just living their daily life. They weren't armed typically, and then something happened or someone got a word for something, and then because like was it the Dakotas? What's the Dakota?
Sioux?
Is it? Yeah, it must have been Sioux.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just saw like one of my friends. She's really up on it, and she does a lot of like awesome stuff for Native folks, and I'm pretty sure she's part Native too. And she put up like something on the reunion of when the Sioux had a similar massacre. Maybe that was Wounded Knee. I don't.
Probably Wounded Knee.
Yeah, maybe it was. Yeah, we're a bunch of women and children.
Yep.
Yeah.
And them guys wore it's pretty graphic, but they wore their like uteruses through the parade on their hats.
Oh, brutal.
It was brutal. It was brutal all the way around,
Yeah, absolutely, man.
But like on 1923, if you ever watch it, the craziest thing is no one's ever told this story of like the natives going to boarding school,
Oh,
and he tells the true story of it.
really?
And he shows like, and it's hard to watch, man.
Yeah, man.
Like my wife sat there after she watched it, and my wife's not native, and she's like, "I'm so sorry this happened to your people." And I said, "You know what I see from that is how strong were my ancestors for me to be here right now.
Yeah.
They went through all that for me to be here. Like that. Go back to opening a business. Like you can't be no slum.
No.
Like you come from strong people. Like they went through a freaking genocide
Yep.
and all this in order for you to sit there and smoke meth, or be a piece of shit. Like go be somebody because it's in your blood. Like they survived.
Yeah, man.
They survived all that for you to like go be somebody.
I know that bugs me too, man. When I see like some of our people like not doing anything with themselves, it's like, come on, man. Like you can live on the past, but it's not gonna get you anywhere, man. Like yeah, it sucked, it happened, man, and it bums everybody out.
But it's the past.
It's the past, exactly.
It's the past, and like as an Indian, like in rodeo, and the thing about reservations is when you're on a res, every town next to you is racist, and it's just if you lived next to it don't matter, whatever, blacks, Mexicans, white trash, whatever, Chinese, there's people that are gonna be racist towards it.
Mm-hmm.
It's human nature.
Yeah.
But like as soon as you move away from that, then you realize that nobody's racist. But like for them, their poverty, so they can only go to Great Falls, they can only go to Kalispell, and they just see that racism. But if they ever got pushed out to the world, they'd see, hey man, there's actually more people willing to help you out than not.
Yeah.
But you're stuck in this bubble, this weird bubble.
Mm-hmm.
And if you just got away, there's like so much out there for you, you know?
Absolutely, man. And leaving the hate back where like back on the reservation or wherever the anger is, man, leaving it there. Like you said, man, going out in the world and then doing like these chats, man, where you're talking about like this history that happened and then moving forward and not dwelling on it, and making something of yourself. And man, when we were in high school, I remember playing against like, I don't know, like Lodgegrass or, name whatever native school, man. And like the athletes, it's like, man, and that was always the talk, which was sad, is like, man, if this guy stays straight, and goes to college, he's going to be a hell of a basketball player.
Correct.
And then like, you just hope. And man, so many times where you're like, wonder what happened to this guy, and you hear like one occasion, this fella, and I don't know name his name, but I heard he's on the way back from college and he was already like taking a bad path and up dying in a jail cell, and no one really knows what happened to him. And it's like, man, that guy was one of the best basketball players I'd seen, like with my own eyes.
Yeah. And I think it'll take some generation, because it is like, we're just talking, like my grandma was born in 25. So like, really she was still living off the land.
Yeah.
And her mom was living off the land. So it's generation trauma too. But there's so much more out there for Indians, and like we're so talented. Like we're talented horsemen. Like there's like I see it in rodeo. There's so much talent up there,
Yeah.
And I mean, I hope that some kid is like, well, he come from where I came from and he did this. Like I can do this.
Yeah.
Break that glass ceiling for him, and then just have people just keep doing it, keep doing it, keep doing it, and then it just becomes a common thing within them.
Yeah, absolutely,
You know,
man.
I mean, that's I've always thought of that. Like, be a role model for these young people to like, hey man, you can go do this. Like, I went to that school, I
Yeah.
went to that gas station. I was there. I was you.
Yeah.
You're talented. There's a
Yeah.
whole world out there for you, man. Go out there and go see the world.
Dude.
And then if it doesn't work, the res is always, it's staying there forever. It's never leaving. Like, you could go back.
Yep.
You're not going to want to after you get a little taste. I mean, I love my reservation and everything, but like for me, it's like there's more out here than it is there for me. And at the end of the day, the white man gave that to you. So like,
Yeah.
why would you think your ancestors would want that?
No.
Like, go out there and be somebody.
Especially the nomadic nature of Indians, especially
Yeah.
your tribe, like you said, from just south of Dubois, I think is kind of where it all is, and then all the way up to Edmonton, man. You meant to roam, like, and
Yeah.
all people, right? That's not just
Correct.
Native Americans, right? We're all explorers. That's why we're
Yeah.
trying to go to space and exploring the ocean and
Yeah.
doing all this, trying to colonate Mars, 'cause that's what we are, man. We're colonators in general, like we're always trying to explore. So it's like you said, to be stuck in one corner of the world, man, it's such a tragedy in itself.
Yeah.
There's so much world out there.
Yeah. Legends never die, man.
Yeah.
That's
yeah.
the thing about it is that go be a legend. Go try to be a legend.
Go try, yeah.
Yeah. What do you got to lose?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, totally, man. And then if you do go back to the res, bring something. Like don't go back with your tail between your legs. Go back to the success, like you're saying, and go inspire some people. And if you really really make it, you go back. And I always thought about this, man. Like and I've been rolling around my head. Like if this podcast goes, I would try to like figure out some way to help out, a lot of reservations and do, I don't know, like some kind of game where like like a basketball tournament, man, where if you win, you're going to make a preposterous amount of money. Like I want to have that much money to give to be like, this is going to be life changing, right? Like,
Yeah.
and then some kind of incentive, like, and I don't want it to be like a once a year thing. I want to be like, I want to have a gym. I mean, this would be a lot, dude. I have to make like, I don't know, Bill Gates money to probably make this happen, but somewhere it's like, I'm going to give you the opportunity to train and do everything to be able to win the tournament to change your life and your family's life. Like I'm going to have this gym open and coaches and whatever, man. Like,
Yep.
I don't know how exactly how to do it because I'm not smart enough to figure it out right now, but something to like, to get them active again, to get folks active again. Because that's the biggest thing, man. You get active, you get your body active, then your brain gets active, and it's just a compounding thing,
Yeah, for sure.
And if you got a goal, right, that's the thing too. You got a goal, like, like it sounds dumb to be like sports, but it's like, that's what a lot of us have in common, And if you have that drive to be like, man, if my team wins this, we all get so much money that we can go do whatever, save our families or whatever they want to do with it, Like,
Yep.
and it's there, the talent's there and stuff.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, they're the most talented people. I mean, they're,
Well, like you said, like, well, you see, like the assimilation kind of is not a great word for it, but it's kind of what happened, like when the settlers came and Indians all spoke their own language, and sometimes they spoke neighboring tribal languages, but so probably like two languages, right? And then they had to bring French, right?
Yeah.
Spanish and English. Most and a lot of especially chiefs could speak it all.
Yeah.
I remember hearing like the story before. I think it was even before Lewis and Clark came. This might have been from Steve Rennell too, but like there was like some chiefs from out here that had already been over to like England and met like the king and queen, and before Lewis and Clark had even made their trek across. I thought I heard.
Yeah.
Is that wild?
There's a guy. Oh shit, I'd butcher his name. Anyway, he's got a show on Netflix called Ancient Apocalypse.
Yeah.
He dates Native Americans back 17,000 years.
Yeah, man.
And like before, like because we believe that we were like we were created here.
Yeah.
And so our creation story is like Creator built the earth, and then he built us, and then he told us how to live here, and he told us what this plant will do, this blah blah blah.
Yeah.
And the craziest thing about this guy is this is mind blowing, really. So we were water people before we were on land. So we were in a beaver bundle, they call it. So we were underwater.
Oh.
And we were little. And then we come out of the water one day, and then we forever lived on the land.
Yeah.
But when this guy was talking, he was talking about the dry falls by Cheney or west of Cheney.
Oh.
Okay, they say that Lake Missoula drained, and that's what made the dry falls. He says no way in hell did just Lake Missoula do that. He believes a meteor hit the up here. It was all an ice age, and then the water came out, and it was like within 3 weeks.
Oh wow.
And like he says, it was like that dry falls was like, I forget, like 1,000 times bigger than Niagara Falls. Like it was huge. But what's crazy is that all makes sense because we were water people.
Yeah.
And so we must have been under the ice, and then we came out of the ice.
Oh wow.
But I mean, our creation stories come. I mean, because a lot of people say, well, natives come across the land bridge.
That's what I was gonna say.
But it's like, we don't look like Chinese. We don't look like Mongolians.
Yeah.
We don't look like Russians.
Yeah.
Like, we don't look like anything like them people.
Yeah.
Like, we were tall. Like, back in the day, like, you know, the tall people were 5'5".
Yeah. Yeah.
We were 6 foot.
Yeah.
Like, we're way taller. Like, even Vikings, they say Vikings were big people, but they weren't big people. I mean, compared to now, they weren't. You know, they were like 5'5", and they were like, they're ginormous.
Yeah.
But then we were 6 foot. So,
Yeah.
like, where did these genes come from? Like, so I don't believe we came from no land bridge. And this guy did say, he's like, man, there ain't no, like, natives were been here for 17,000 years.
That's what I always thought too, man. Like the land bridge story was like
It's far-fetched. I mean,
what I was gonna say, far-fetched.
it's pretty far-fetched, but they don't want to, they don't believe in the, you know, them creation stories and stuff.
No.
But, like, what he was basically saying is, like, so say this is a sacred place. You're going to remodel it because you're going to keep coming back to it.
Yeah.
And so most archaeologists just tear off the first layer.
Mm-hmm.
And then they're like, oh, this is 200 years old.
Yeah.
But that's just the first layer. If you keep digging, then you're like, oh, no, actually, it's 8,000 years old.
Yeah. Well, they talk about the pyramids, right? Like the
Yeah.
pyramids aren't the original. There's structures inside the pyramids that are older, and yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy. I mean, it makes
Smaller.
sense to me.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, you know.
Totally. Well, like you said, it's funny too because all these, like a lot of these creation stories that tribes have, man. Like even I want to say it's the Hopi, or yeah, I think it's a Hopi. Have like the, God, I'm gonna butcher all this up, but you know, like I want to say like the kava hole in the ground on top of a mesa or something in a ring, and they believe that their people came out of this hole in the ground. You know, which is like same with yours, like underneath something coming out, and it kind of lends to what that guy was saying on Ancient Apocalypse. Graham Hancock and God, I wish I could remember the guy's name.
I can't either.
Yeah, but yeah, I kind of watched a little bit of that and then watched him on Rogan, and he had, you know, he's out in Turkey in those old structures that were under the ground, you know, like safe havens. So kind of makes sense that the, you know, Native Americans are the same thing, you know.
Correct. Yeah. Yeah, and like I don't know. Another thing is like, how would you know what plants would save you?
Yeah.
And how would you know how to hunt? Or how would you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like if you came across from Asia to this, it'd be like us landing on freaking Mars and figuring out how to live.
Totally, man.
We wouldn't survive.
No.
You wouldn't make it through the winter.
Yeah.
How would you know how to winter?
Yeah, exactly, man. Like you can only bring so much food with you. So, like if you can't figure out how to terraform Mars, like unless you got like a barge that's just coming over and has to make it, you know, and there better be there's probably a little time lapse or overlap in that barge coming to supply you with food and water, but if something happens, you're gone, right? So like to rely on something like that is unrealistic. Where you know, if you don't know how to forage and hunt, I mean,
in that area,
yeah,
because all the tribes are in all different areas. Like Eskimos, like why didn't we just stop there with the Eskimos then?
Yeah,
you know,
and
eat whales and shit.
Yeah, exactly.
You know,
man.
like why did we come down?
Yeah,
like why? You know,
there's no. Yeah, what's the drive?
Yeah, where was the drive? It's like, no, man, we were created here.
Yeah, it has to be because, like you said, all the predators and stuff. I mean, like the settlers didn't want to come out here because of that, you know. So it's like, how were our people able to coexist with all the threats, you know?
Yeah, correct.
Because they had some other knowledge, man. They knew what was going on.
They
you know?
did. Yeah. So I don't know. I was raised traditional, and that's the way I believe, and I think it makes sense. You know?
Yeah, I think so too, man. Dude,
it's not far fetched.
No,
it's really not.
No,
I think the land bridge shit's more far fetched than being created here. We were all created somewhere.
Somewhere, yeah. It had to come from something. Yeah. And the thing is, too, the land bridge seems so sketchy. You know, like to go across this land. I mean, maybe it was more, solid and wasn't that bad to hike across this big ice bridge, but it seems kind of sketchy to me.
What do you think about just the settlers headed west? How many of them really made it? Like, I don't know what the percentage rate is, but I bet it wasn't good.
No.
So, like, you're going to travel across an ice bridge?
Yeah, exactly.
Like, who's going to live through that?
Oh,
How are you going to bring women and children through an ice bridge?
And all your supplies and everything else?
Yeah.
Your supplies, yeah.
With no animals.
Yeah, yeah, exactly,
Would
man.
they use reindeer?
Yeah,
You
right.
know
That's
what
all,
I mean?
yeah.
Like there's no way, man.
No, I'm
They're
with you.
crazy.
Yeah.
Maybe maybe there was people that come across it, but you didn't get a whole freaking nation of people across that.
No, I mean, because like you said, it has to be a nation, and then it has to be such a big population. They're able to go all the way down to South America, and populate South America is kind of what they were saying, right?
Yeah.
It's like, man, that seems, and the amount of time that would take, right? It would take forever, to get people all the way down to South America,
Yeah.
and populate your way down,
Yeah.
I don't know, yeah, and the thing is too, like, yeah, I don't know, us just talking about the things important, man. Like, have an open mind, like just maybe it's not true, but like it makes sense the way the way my brain works, and it's like
Correct. Yeah.
and we're not experts, we're not out there like doing all the archaeology on it, but if you think about
Common sense goes a long ways in this world.
yeah, absolutely, man.
I mean, I don't know.
We're just two guys in an old Airstream smoking cigars and BSing about it, but yeah, these conversations are important. Well, and like even the Native American stuff, super important. I think it's getting out more. I think people are going, more culture
Aware,
yeah.
Yep.
And the backing, like I think a bunch of people who aren't descendant of the tribes here, we're all tribal people in the end. That's what people got to remember, right? We're all tribal. Like we didn't just like come from a city, man. Like there was a tribes. You're whatever, white, brown, yellow, whatever color you are, red. You came from some little tribe somewhere, man. So we're all tribal people, and I think that's why when people come out to Montana, especially like they see a powwow and they got this big like calling, man. You feel it in you. You're like, man, I'm not, I don't really belong there, but like I want to go check that out, man.
Yeah.
I want to go have some, Indian taco and go enjoy this drums, and
see
like
their culture.
Yeah, man, you're drawn to it, like.
Correct.
Even if it's not your tribe, like for me, the big powwow in Billings that happen every year, like I was always drawn to come hang out and like that's mostly Crow, isn't it?
Yeah, crows.
Yeah. So like I'm still like drawn to go like check it out, man, and and hang out a little bit because usually I'd be walking through it on the way after practice, they'd be setting up and stuff, and they're so nice and just kind of just end up talking a little bit and like hanging out I think I was there for like an hour one time, just kind of hanging out and talking to folks as they're coming in, man. I was like, God, this is interesting, and I didn't get to attend because track meet, so we had to take off that weekend, but I was like, man, I really want to get down on this, and does everybody do round dance? I don't know my history enough.
Yeah, a lot of do. They dance like different tribes dance different. It's like spirit. I mean, it is and it isn't, but it's like it's a little spiritual, but so like everybody has their own twist on it. But like everybody will round dance. I mean, because it's like the circle, right?
Yeah.
So like you're just the circle of life there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's cool, man. I fought fire with a guy named Daniel Spencer, and he's from Fort. Oh, it's kind of up on the Highland.
Fort Benton?
No.
Fort Belknap.
Fort Belknap. Yep, that's the one. Yeah, and he'd always be like doing some round dance songs, and be digging like clean, doing some mop up or something, and he'd be doing some round dance songs. He even cut like some leather of a Jordan, like the picture of Jordan Duncan, and he put it on his boots. It was so cool, man. He was funny as hell, and just like, and that's passing the time. It helped having him, out there like singing and talking and stuff. Like really help get things moving.
Correct. Intriguing,
yeah, and like we're different tribes, right? But like, and I remember as a kid I was always like kind of worried to like talk because like maybe some of the old bad blood would come back, and but no one cares, man. It's like you're almost pumped to be like, oh dude, you're native too, man, what's up, you know?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, because there is and there isn't a lot of us, but we should all, anybody, we should all get along.
Yeah, everybody, like you said, man. Like, and then there's that old saying too, like, none of the native folks were escaping the tribe to go live in the settlements. It was all settlers, were escaping to try to come live with the natives, and it's like there's something to it, man. Like being connected with the earth more. Like you were saying earlier about the umbilical cord to the earth. Like tribal folks have that more.
Correct. Yeah, because we literally lived off the land.
Yeah.
Used everything that Mother Nature gave us and figure out how to all make it work, just
Yeah.
crazy in its own sense,
Yeah, totally, man. That actually segues perfect to what else I was gonna ask you about was fly fishing, my friend. Like, speaking of living off the land, like, how long you been fly fishing?
Oh, probably, man, I didn't get into it till I was over here, but I've probably been fly fishing for like, probably 13, 14 years.
That's awesome, man.
Yeah.
Hey, you're pretty damn good at it from what I hear. Like, I haven't been able to go fishing. I was hoping we were gonna do the Smith this summer, and worked out that none of us went because
Yeah.
it dried up. But
Yeah.
and then you were busy. I think you had a film or something to go do, right?
Yeah, I was busy filming anyway, but yeah,
Yeah.
no, man, that's the most righteous thing you can do is trick a trout onto a little fly, and
Yeah.
you got to present it right and lay. I mean, everything's got to be right. You got to have the right hatch, and
Yeah.
it was crazy. Actually, I went fly fishing last week. We went on a float in the river.
Really?
Yeah, it was like 30 degrees, but it was fun. I mean, we froze
Yeah.
our ass off, but we caught them.
That's cool.
We caught them all day, but
Yeah. On dries, you nymphing or?
no, I was actually streamer fishing.
Oh, streamer.
My buddy was nymphing. He caught more. You'll catch more nymphing than you will streamers. But
Yeah, I had no idea until recently fishing the bitter because man, like one of those things in our back door. But I was so busy with fire. Like I really love fighting fire, but it really takes a ton of your life up, man. And like I was missing out on so much in my back door. Like just my backyard. I guess what I'm trying to say.
yeah, the bitter. It's like it's a great fishery. It's a I mean, people fly all over the country to come fish here. It's crazy.
It is crazy. I had no idea.
Yeah.
Well, then to tag into that, like my great grandpa who bought this thing brand new back in the day, his cabin's on the Missouri just down from Craig. Where like is another,
Yeah, it's like the haven. I mean, it's the mecca
yeah, the
of
Mecca.
fly fishing.
Yeah, and I'm over here spinning, and the closest thing I do to as a kid is like float a hopper down, on a spin rod.
Yeah.
And just family wasn't that into it, and I never really got that into it. And then as I got older, and like my brother hang out with you, and you guys going fishing all the time, wading out, and it's like, man, started doing it, and it's so it hits you on all the senses, right?
Correct. Yeah, it does. Yeah, and I mean, fly fishing. I mean, you do want to catch fish, but like, there's more to it.
Yeah.
It's like a big stress relief. I don't know. You're out in nature. Like that day, we probably seen 20 eagles.
Yeah.
We've seen these deer swim across the river. Like, it's like the whole experience of it. It's like you're with nature,
Yeah.
It's just righteous,
Yeah, man.
You're quiet. Everything's quiet. It's just takes your mind away from everything because all you're thinking about is how can I get this fish to eat my fly?
Yeah.
And that's all you're thinking about. Like, there's no noise,
Yeah, because
After, I mean, for like maybe the first 20 minutes, you're thinking about other shit. Then it's therapy. It goes away, and then you're just chilled out.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, I'm just out here enjoying life.
the sounds, the smells, the sun, the water, like,
Correct.
oh, dude, it's overload, man,
Yeah.
in a good way.
Yeah, it is. It is. It's like pretty healthy to do, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I've been enjoying too more about it, because and especially, well, in like both our lines of work, rodeo and fire are pretty similar in that you're nomadic. I'm always looking for fire, and you're chasing it, and that's how I make my money. Same with rodeo,
Yep.
and you're following the rodeos, and busy eats your summer just like yours. Like fire.
And
eats your
that's the
summer.
best time in Montana.
Yeah.
Right now, it sucks.
Yeah. Yeah. Totally,
Yeah.
man.
Yeah, it's horrible.
Just skating across my driveway just to get here.
Yeah, and fog for 3 weeks.
Yeah, man, I've never seen the fog like this.
Yeah.
I don't think, dude.
Yeah, it's crazy. But yeah, no, man. I don't know. Fly fishing's rewarding. It's like we live in the best place to do it.
Yeah.
You can, because if you're sick of the bitter, you go to the Clark Fork. That's
Yeah.
another blue ribbon trout stream.
Yeah.
Then you could go to Blackfoot. Then you can go. You can go where it's endless. Where you
Yeah.
can go. You can go them high mountain lakes.
Yeah.
They're not that far away.
No, dude.
Well, we should go do that this summer.
We should definitely do that because
Yeah.
yeah.
I have horses. I
Oh.
mean, I know you're a hiking fool, but I'm not a hiker.
No, I'll prefer a horse any day of the week, dude.
Yeah, we'll ride a horse up there.
Yeah.
We'll head out early in the morning and then hit up there. And
Yeah.
actually, I'd like to get a bunch of guys together and go up there.
Absolutely, man.
Go early one day, and then camp that night. Just fucking tent. I'm not even a
Yeah.
tent, like a tarp,
Yeah, I'm game.
Fish that morning and then ride out that afternoon.
Yeah, we can hammock, dude. I got a bunch of hammocks.
Yeah, just live up there and eat fish. Fucking I don't know. We can bring some Buck and Dave's eggs. Or
Yeah,
something for
exactly.
Fish and eggs for breakfast.
Yeah, because it's nice to start off the way with some eggs, man.
Yeah.
And the fuel you get from not to be sales pitching here, but
Yeah.
I mean, the fuel you get out of an egg, man, there's so much nutrition, and
Right.
it really helps you start the day right. You know, that and a little bit of coffee.
Yep, for sure. Yeah, we should definitely. I've been wanting to do that for
Yeah.
a long time, and I've never done it. And I'm like, man, I need to do that. Like this year, we need to just go up there for like 2 days and
Yeah.
hang out. Then once you're up there, you could go to different lakes.
Yeah, that's
Like-
the thing too, right? You know, you get on a higher mountain lake, and you hit that whatever the altitude is. I wish I should know this being a Forest Service
Yeah.
guy, but you hit that altitude, and there's so many mountain lakes, you know, like just kind of like hopscotched around, you know.
All over, like it's crazy. I think they said there's like 70 lakes in the Bitterroot.
Dude, yeah, that makes sense. There's a ton. Like every time I've gone like hike somewhere, like St. Mary's Lookout,
Yeah.
you go on once you get on the ridge, you can kind of look on both sides. You're like, oh man, that's a cool looking lake. I'd love to check that out. But usually I'm there for work, so I'm like, I can't just like veer off my task to go like
Go fishing.
Yeah, throw a line in, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd definitely get in for that, and especially with the horseback, you know, save so much time, you know.
Yeah. Yeah.
And-
And it does me good too because my horses need to be rode.
Yeah.
I might put you on a kind of a young one. He'll be all right.
Yeah, that's all right. Yeah,
He'll play out after a while.
I'll still bounce all right. Yeah.
Yeah.
that's-
You could handle. I won't set you up too bad.
Oh, good deal, man.
Yeah.
I'm a little green these days,
yeah,
man.
it's okay.
It's been a while.
I won't set you up too bad.
All right, I'll take it, man. And there's a good chance I might end up with my dad's little herd. I think he's only got like 6 horses left, but
Yeah.
they're looking to do more like snowbird stuff, and he's getting older. He's not really wanting to throw a leg over a horse as much, so
Right.
yeah, we might gotta put a fence up here, but we might get his little herd, and so
Yeah. Be fun. It'd be a badass trip.
yeah, an excuse to get on a horse, man, and get out in the country. And another thing I want to do, like we should do sometime, is get up in the bob, because
Yeah.
I'd love to go like across. I think it's like 26 miles across, 50 miles across.
Yeah.
50 miles seems to be ringing a bell.
I think it's that big.
I think it is, because yeah, one of my friend's my friend's wife, did this cool badass trip with her and her mom. You know, his wife's a little older than us, so his mom is however old, you know, and still in great shape, you know.
Yeah.
But it's such a cool like mother-daughter thing to do, to cruise across the bob. This isn't little sleepless nights, you know, with all the bear and stuff, but
Yeah.
so it's just amazing.
10 mm.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I got, man.
Yeah. Bear
Yeah.
stopper.
Yeah, exactly,
Yeah.
dude. Yeah.
I'll carry the shotgun.
Yeah. Yeah, that works,
I'll bring
man.
the shotgun.
Yeah, it works. I can,
Spray him.
yeah, exactly, man.
Get
yeah.
out of here, bear.
Yeah, go somewhere else. No food for you here.
Actually, I was charged by a bear once, horseback.
Really? Oh, horseback.
It was
Dude.
the most terrifying experience I've ever had in my life.
I bet that's going to be rare, too.
Yeah, we just jumped them. We were on a creek. We were actually fishing on the res, but we were way back in the mountains, and we were
Yeah.
almost to where we were at, and heard a hoof.
Oh.
And I was like, "Is that your horse?" He's like, "Huh?" Hoof. We all stopped, and we were looking, and you could just hear the brush coming down. Sound like I heard an elk coming through the brush.
Oh.
And all of a sudden, these 2 bears stood up. And my horse was like, belly was almost on the ground, like they're scared, you know?
Yeah.
Fuck, we hauled ass. And we trapped ourselves. We were in a canyon.
Oh, no.
So it was right at the mouth of the canyon at the mountain. So it's like, no way down, no way further. We were boxed.
Oh, no.
And so we had to ride. We skated around them as much as we could, but we basically rode back through them.
Oh.
But later to figure out it was like in June,
Mm-hmm.
and so they were mating,
Oh.
and their berries were out.
Yeah,
It might
yeah.
have been July, and they were mating,
Oh,
and
yeah.
so they were just mating, and they weren't gonna eat us. They were just like, get out of here,
Yeah.
and they were full on. We were lucky, but at that moment, I literally felt as big as an ant.
Dude.
Like I was like, I'm dead. I just started laughing.
Yeah.
They're like, why are you laughing? I'm like, we're dead.
This is over.
Like, it's over, dude. Like, we're done.
yeah.
Like, a bear chases a freaking deer down a mountain
Yeah.
and can catch the deer. My horse ain't fast as a deer.
Yeah,
He ain't-
exactly.
he ain't definitely ain't as agile as a deer.
Yeah.
So if they catch a deer running through down brush, there ain't no way I'm freaking getting away from this grizzly bear.
No, and your horse may survive. It could clean you out of the saddle
Yeah.
quick, you know? Like,
So I just started laughing, and they thought
Yeah.
I was crazy. But I was like, man, I was like, it was crazy because I did think I was dead, and I just started laughing. I'm just like, I guess I'm dead.
here it is.
Yeah, like,
Oh, yeah.
yeah, it's over for us. Like, we're done. We had one gun between us.
Oh, man.
But like,
brutal.
I mean, what's a gun ain't gonna? I mean, really,
Two-
for you to freaking sit there and hold a gun steady as a bear's coming at you.
Yeah, I mean, good shots.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
I mean, it's luck if you get him.
I was going to say, yeah.
I mean, it's all luck.
Oh, totally, man. There's so much hide in there. I mean, you hear like people shooting a 45 at a bear, and it just skims off their skull. You know, their skull's thick, and the angle that they come at you too, I think has something to play in it. You know, like
And I was told too that a bear's heart rate's like half the rate of ours,
ooh.
and so that's why it takes so long for him to like. Even if you did hit him,
So
it's gonna take him that long to even bleed out. Because even if he's hyped up, his heart still ain't pumping, so it's pumping really slow. So it's gonna take so long for that blood to deplete.
yeah, because they don't have the blood pressure either. So like when it hits, it's not like a spurt, probably as much as just like a leak. And then like you said, it's like a slow leak because it every time the heart beats, it pumps.
It's just a,
Ooh.
it's a. I mean, they are the king of the. They're king of the mountain.
Yeah.
Sure.
Oh yeah, dude. I was picking huckleberries one time with my dog, my Labrador, and luckily he's good. And I was in like flip flops and like my bro tank, you know, just got a little bucket or something. I'm just like picking away, and I could kind of hear something, but like, you know, you hear a chipmunk or a squirrel come through. Sometimes it could sound like a bear or an elk, like if they're hitting all the leaves.
Yeah.
You know, maybe not quite that big, but it sounds bigger than it is. And my dog was alert right away. I was like, "That's all right, boy." You know, I keep picking, but I got my eye out. And I'm thinking, what I've seen moose before is a kind of moose country. So I'm like, that's probably just a moose. So I keep picking. I'm slowly working my way back to my truck. I'd never gotten anything on me either, not even bear spray, anything. And then I see this big blob come out of the woods, and definitely a grizz. And I was like, all right, yeah, we've picked enough berries today. You know,
You can have the rest.
yeah, exactly. Yeah. So like, luckily my dog's good. He didn't do anything. He just was kind of like not happy the bear was there, but he was just also like staying on my cues, like. It's like, all right, buddy, let's go load up, you know. And I felt like it, and I was moving pretty quick to my truck because I want to make sure my dog got in the truck and I got in the truck safely, you know, without any entanglement with the bear. And man, it felt like I was moving like molasses, dude. I was like, and it was uphill. And like to your point about the speed of a bear, someone told me one time, or I read it, that it's like 35 miles an hour. It doesn't matter if it's uphill or downhill. Like that's the
They're
bear
faster
speed.
downhill.
Yeah, I can see it, man.
That's
downhill.
crazy. Yeah.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Yeah, they're faster running.
Or
Maybe
uphill.
it's uphill.
Yeah, I think you mean like uphill. Yeah,
they're faster uphill than. But like when a bear goes through the country, like if he's gonna go over a mountain, he don't like us. Like, oh, let's hit this ridge, and you know, and it's easier. They just go straight up, straight down.
Yeah,
straight up, straight down.
Like
straight up, straight down.
Yeah, I heard wolverines do the same.
Yeah, they don't give a shit.
Man, you ever seen a wolverine?
Not in person.
Me either, man. Like they're so elusive. They're the most elusive animal I think at least in the West. You know.
Yeah.
I mean, you hear stories about it. I got a guy who, like, one of my really good friends who does, like, the Wolverine studies. That's one reason why I've even, like, seen pictures, as many pictures as I have.
Yeah.
Because they put up the game cam and leave, like, a piece of meat hanging. It's cool to see a little Wolverine come over. And
Yeah. They say a Wolverine will whoop a grizzly.
Oh, really?
That's what they say.
Yeah, I heard, like, I think maybe I saw a video of it, like, a bear. It was kind of, I think it was in Yellowstone. So, like, Wolverine sitting on top of, like, a winter kill or something, you know, something that died.
Yeah.
And he's just eating on it. And, then I think first a bear came over and he chased the bear off, and then like a pack of wolves come over and they chase the wolves off. You know, like it's nuts, man.
Yeah, they're tough little buggers.
Yeah, they are, man. Not afraid of anything.
No,
man.
Not afraid. And then you never see them.
Yeah,
it's crazy.
Yeah, so elusive, man.
Yeah.
Let me check my notes real quick because I was gonna let you go. Don't want to keep you too late here. You know, you got stuff to do tomorrow? You're flying out tomorrow, aren't you?
No, I fly out Wednesday. I got to pack my bag and tidy shit up. Before I leave.
Yeah, man. So rodeo career's over now, you think?
Yeah, rodeo career's done.
Yeah.
I was strapping up. Well, first one I got on when I was 14, and then I quit when I was 32. So if you figure, man, from age 18 to 32, how many years is that? 14 years?
Yeah.
So I probably got on over 100 head a year. So I've been on over, I've been on over 1,500 head. I think I had enough.
Yeah, dude. Holy cow, man.
Yeah, that's why my body feels like shit.
Yeah, I bet, dude.
Yeah.
Shoulders, back, everything.
Yeah, man, my shoulders are, I don't know why my shoulders, that's the last injury that happened to me was actually, I knew my shoulder was going, but I didn't know when.
Oh.
And I put a brace on, and when I put the brace on, my shoulder dislocated.
Oh.
So my last ride, my shoulder dislocated, and it fell behind me. And like I said, you got to wedge your hand out. And so I bellied up, so I put my feet in the belly, and I dove into my hand to get out, and that horse, if he didn't just quit bucking, he'd start jumping in the air, so he had no power to get my hand out.
Oh.
And so I'm just sitting there trying to get my hand out on the side of this thing like a monkey fucking a football, and I just went off. My arms popping in and out, in and out, in and out.
Oh.
So I made 8 seconds, not by choice. My arm's out. I'm like I'm walking back to the chutes. I know my arm's out. And the guy's like, here's $100. You come out of a lucky chute or something.
Oh, really?
I'm like, I need that. And then I went behind the chutes, and I was like, my shoulder's out, and the EMT's like, I don't know how to do that. And I'm like, what the fuck?
Yeah, no.
So I went to the hospital, and they screwed me around for a while. So it was about probably 2 hours that my arm was out.
Oh.
So, like, if you ever dislocate something, the further it's out, it's like a boa constrictor, the tighter it gets because all your muscles are stretched.
Yeah.
And so they want it back.
Mm-hmm.
And so they're just cranking. Shit's cranking.
Oh.
And so they pop my arm back in. So I go home. Like, well, shit, my rodeo career is done for at least a year.
Yeah.
And so I'm sitting at home. I've got no money. I'm like, man, what am I going to do? I can't lift my arm up. Like, I couldn't lift my arm up. And my phone rings like, hey, do you want to come do some stunts? I'm like, yeah, I could fall down.
Yeah.
And so I started doing stunts, and my arm would pop in and out. But, like, it was like something I could do.
Yeah.
Like, I couldn't go work anywhere else.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's kind of how I went to the stunt world.
Oh, really?
I mean, that's when I really started taking it serious. I messed around with it, but I never took it serious. And then as soon as that took off, it just, like, man, it took off. Like, it's been crazy good, Like, I work and pretty consistent and get to do a lot of cool stuff.
Yeah.
But, I'm a firm believer of, like, living to authentically who you are. And my rodeo was who I authentically was. And then my stunt world is authentically who I am because it comes so easy. Anything that comes easy for you is authentically who you are. And as soon as you start living authentically to who you are, the universe opens up because you are doing what you're supposed to be doing.
Yeah, I think so too, man.
Yeah, I'm a firm believer of that. Like, I manifest and I believe in all that.
Yeah.
I do. I 100% believe in it. And it's as simple as, man, if you jump up and down on a trampoline, then you're going to jump higher. And the earth feels that too. So, like, if you want something enough and you start making energy, it's going to come back to you.
Yeah.
And it's a double-edged sword. If you think negative, then that's going to come to you.
True.
It's whatever you attract, you're going to attract what you think,
Yep.
But yeah, no, the rodeo career's done. I mean, I could have came back, I was at the peak of my career. It was crazy. Like, I got to where almost I was burnt out. I was burnt out of the grind, just like you were talking about.
Yeah.
But my experience was, I was winning. So I couldn't justify not riding anymore until that happened. And then that's the universe saying, hey, man, you're actually meant to go do this. So go do this. And I'm a stubborn guy. So I got pushed to doing that. And then it opened up.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's crazy, man. I mean, my body's hammered from it, but I'm grateful for it. I would never change what I did, I mean, it was a big part of my life, But at the end of the day, I always knew it was only, it's only a short part of your life. So make the best of it while you can.
Totally. I think that makes some of the best characters, I think, and just the best people. And nothing against folks who just find their niche and their niche, I think is the right way to say it. But, like, finding at a young age, like teachers, or like meant to teach, they're great teachers. They do their whole life.
Yeah.
That's really good and good on them. But
yeah, that's authentically who they are.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah.
Yeah, because, like, for me, I'm more like you, though, where chapters. I want my book to have more chapters, I guess,
Correct.
and it's and being open to it. When I was younger, I didn't think like this. I just kind of.
I didn't either.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. I almost feel like I got to. I was on 0, and I was forced to think like this.
Yeah.
It was either like you can suffer, or you can change the way you think. And I was lucky enough. I was smart enough to figure out, hey, man. Like, just try this. I'm fucked anyway.
Yeah, especially. I was gonna say,
you have nowhere to go.
No other options at that point.
No other options, and you're forced to do that. So that's just kind of how it played out. And, like, now I'm a firm believer. I'm a huge believer of it.
Yeah. Well, then
I'm living proof of it.
yeah, absolutely, man. And two, like doing a little bit of groundwork and doing it already is kind of just like a side hustle, sets you up to move into that. And then on the flip side too, if you were too stubborn to give up at that point and whatever, you know, I don't know, you had something to prove or whatever it might have been, your driver to stay in the rodeo world, that one's so brutal, man, because, and we all probably know people who've done this where you're rodeoing and you're really not covering anymore and you're going broke and you're still chasing the prize and your body's getting more beat up and you're not riding good because you're so beat up you can't afford to fix yourself, and it's just, it's a bad spiral, man.
It is. And it's like, man, I got out of the game at my peak. Like, I was winning more than ever, but at the end of the day, it was not. It was time for me to move on.
Yeah.
I mean, and that's why I couldn't justify not quitting, because I was winning so much.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, it was something I probably didn't want to be doing anymore. I mean, I had enough. You know, I done seeing it every which way you could see it. And so when that last injury hit, the injury before that, I tore my bicep.
Ooh.
And I said, you know, that was 6 months of rehab and, you know, just to heal. And then it was about 8 months till I got on. And I always told my wife if I was a drug addict, I'd never be able to leave treatment, because it was literally as soon as my arm was good to go, I went right back to it.
Yeah.
But like coming back from injury from anything is really hard. And I said, if I ever get hurt again, I'm done.
Yeah.
I don't have the drive anymore to come back from this injury and go through that. You know, you got to learn how you confident. It just goes on that you have to come back from an injury. And I was like, I'm done. I'm going to move on.
Yeah.
I've done this enough.
And yeah, injuries is a good like tactical pause, I think, because I get the same with my Crohn's, you know, like I'm fighting it all the time, like not constant, but you know, I get a flare and then I get bedridden for a while, you know, I have to go to the hospital and go through the whole deal. And it's instead of just like being like, woe is me, I get the mindset and just lucky this way, I guess, that my brain works this way. I'll be laid up and I'm like, all right, what now? You know, like, and I get the podcast going. So this is my new focus. And it's like, all right, what else can I do with this? Who else I think would be interesting to have on, and you know, just other little things I can do with it. And like, sounds like with you too, the injury, you weren't just like stewing on the injury and like just tunnel visioned on rodeo. You were like, all right, I've done this, I've done really well at this, but like, what else is there to life? You know?
Correct. Yeah. Yeah, and I mean, it's something I always want to do too, the stunt world.
Yeah.
My uncle's a Hall of Fame stuntman. He's a legend in the game, so I've always had that in the back of my mind too.
Yeah, we just touched on him, right, Dutch?
Yeah. But it just happened, manifestation. Westerns are an in thing.
Yeah.
And right when I quit, Westerns are at the peak of its since, you know, a long time.
Yeah.
And so I have all this work, you know,
Yeah,
just
it's
how
so
it works
good, dude.
out. It's just
Yeah.
crazy how the world works, you know?
It is, like you said, the universe, man. Like, it was almost like kind of speaking to you, and it wasn't, you know, the time you could have went and been a stuntman before, and, you know, you'd have been all right, maybe a little bit more ahead of the game, but you might also been getting burnt out, and now you're like,
Correct.
you got this new drive for it, you know, and a new life, and young enough to make a good career out of it still.
Correct. Yeah,
you know?
and like most of the stunt world, like in my stunts, like horse stunts, are all retired rodeo cowboys.
Oh, yeah.
And so it's like, it's par for the course, and like, because they know, like, you know how to fall, you can get through a lot of shit, you know? So, you know, it just, I don't know, it's almost like I was groomed for it.
Absolutely,
know?
man.
So it's crazy, you know? It's just, I don't know. Manifestation, man.
Yeah, well, then you're still hanging out with your people too. You know, like that's like with this, you know, like getting to talk to you and fire folks and just outdoorsy folks, man, in general are my people. So like through this, I get to still hang out with them. You know, I'm not married to a fire. You know, if this right now, I'm not actually making anything with this yet. So like, I'm hopeful. You know,
Yeah.
I think it'll do something down the road. But when it does, you know, and this can be my career. It'll be like you know, like I get to go hang out with the people, my peers, the people that I want to be around, you know?
Yeah. Find DB Cooper.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, man. One day, I mean, I think you might have found him, but
I did too. I think I did too. That'll be next time.
That'll be next time. Yeah.
We'll go down the DB Cooper trail next time.
Yeah, man. Because I wish. Yeah, I'd love to meet that man someday. You know. Yeah. I think it was the last time I talked to you. I'm going down a little bit of a trail with the DB Cooper thing, but like you said, that'll be for the next podcast. We'll talk about that.
Yeah. I'm not gonna mention his name. He does not admit to being DB Cooper, but
yeah,
I think he's DB Cooper.
Yeah, totally, man. Yeah, and it's one of those things too, like because of I mean, they just did a thing I think on Netflix, like trying to find DB Cooper. So I was like, I don't want to give up too much on this, you know. Like,
Yeah.
and but man, it'd be, and I don't know if I'd ever even tell anybody. Like if they admitted it to me, besides like me and you, and
Yeah.
I don't think I'd ever put it out there. I'd just be like, it'd be my own little secret. And then unless he passed away, then I'd be like, I know,
Yeah, actually, it was this guy.
Yeah, if you got to
Here's
meet
the
him.
suit.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Here's the bag. There's the bag. Get all the money in.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
Oh, that'd be cool, man.
Yeah.
But is your uncle still stuntman? Is he retired or?
He's retired. After he was a stunt guy, he was a wrangler, so he brought all the horses and stuff. So he had badass horses.
Yeah.
And then he's got away from that. He's older, and he's kind of just tired of it too.
Yeah.
But actually, a show we're going on is Bass Reeves, and there's 50 Indians, and he's bringing all the horses. So he's bringing 50 head of horses. So,
Oh, dude.
yeah.
That'd
So
be cool.
I think he's gonna come down for that for a little bit anyway, and hang out and kind of get off the ranch there for a while. So
Yeah.
should be cool.
That'd be cool because you probably don't get to see him much anymore, huh?
No, I talk to him on the phone more than I see him.
Yeah.
So, but
That's cool though, man. I mean, he's got to be so proud, dude. Like Yellowstone and 23 and was it 80?
83.
83,
Yeah.
That's so cool.
Yeah, no, he is. And like it's crazy because there's like OGs in the business of the stunt world, and like it's almost where my last name's Lunak, so there's not very many Lunaks in this world at all.
You're the only one I know.
Correct. Like I'm the only Buck Lunak in the world.
Yeah.
So my name's really prominent in that business because it's such a small group of people.
Yeah.
And so my name gets me there, and I feel like I keep myself there. If that makes sense. You know?
Totally.
He made a really good reputation, and then I just get to capitalize on it, you know?
Yeah, absolutely,
And,
man.
I mean, but I take it serious. I want to do a better job every time I'm there, and, I'm professional about it, and I don't take it for granted one day.
No, man. God, then like you just hit it there too, like keeping up the family name, man. That was kind of way back when, and always has been kind of the deal, right? Like your family earned a name, and you want to keep it up and add to it a little bit, like you have already, like you said, man, and keep adding to it, and that's the drive too, right? Not only like the fulfillment and making money to for your family, but also like to keep the name up,
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, and I mean it's crazy. Like I don't tell a lot of people what I do, because honestly it's so far-fetched that most people really can't even fathom. They're like,
yeah, I bet.
for one, you're a rodeo cowboy, like what? And then you're in the movie business, like so I'm pretty, and then I do own a business, so like a lot of shit I don't even tell people. I'm just like, man, just kind of shout about it, because like I don't know, you get one or two responses I've noticed, and it's either a lot of people are like, can you get me in this?
Oh.
And it's like, I'm a nobody.
Yeah.
So no.
Mm-hmm.
Or people don't believe you, which I don't really care either way.
Yeah.
But like back to the like, can you get me into this? Like my wife put it the best way. She goes, this isn't something you get. This is something that comes to you.
Yeah.
Like you can't. How many people strive to be an actor?
Yeah.
And then they fail.
Mm-hmm.
It's like going back to authentically who you are. It comes to you. Like I wanted this, but if I was just like, I'm gonna go do this, I mean,
Yeah.
that's a tough industry. There's probably 50 guys that work, maybe 50 to 100 guys, but there's probably 50 guys that work pretty consistently. And to be like with those guys, it's pretty crazy.
Yeah, man.
So
it's such an unknown thing, which is even crazier too. Like you said, that everyone sees westerns, and westerns are in right now, like you said, man. And to be in that finite number of folks, because people don't think about it, and if you ask somebody, they probably be like, yeah, it makes sense. It's the same guys, because like you want the best, and these guys perform like and you can rely on them, and there's only so many westerns, even though they're getting more popular. There's still only so many,
Yeah, correct. And like a lot of people ain't gonna volunteer to go fall off horses.
Dude, that one the video you showed me, sorry to cut you off, but like that video, man, like when you're actually got shot, I think, right?
Yeah.
And you fell off the horse flat on your belly, face to the dirt, like horizontal, like off the saddle.
Yeah. Sell out.
Yeah, man, that looks so real, and it looked like it hurt.
Yeah, it does. It does. But like, that's one good thing too about this business is like I'm an adrenaline junkie, so like I still get adrenaline.
Yeah.
Like that's a lot of adrenaline.
I
and
bet.
it ain't like you're one and done. You're gonna do that 4 times that day.
Ooh.
And so like you're gonna muck yourself out.
Ye-
But you're also filmed, so you don't want to be no pussy.
Yep,
Like you're
totally.
gonna send it. Like
Yeah.
this shit's gonna be on TV, or they're just not gonna ever ask you to come again.
Yeah.
Like go.
Yep.
Go 100 and let it be what it's gonna be. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, that's earning it right there, you know.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
then, yeah, like you said, if you're not selling out or performing, that'll also like give you a name and not a good one, you know. And
Yeah, you'll never work again
yeah,
because they'll find somebody else that will do it. Like, oh yeah, okay, we'll find somebody who will sell out for us.
throw their body in the dirt, you know,
Yeah.
and make it look real.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And you probably can kind of take a fall a little bit better now. You've been doing it so much too, eh?
Yeah, it's crazy. I mean, rodeo, you're gonna fall.
Yeah.
So I do know how to fall and kind of protect myself. But like I spent my whole life learning how to ride horses, and now they pay me to fall off of them.
That was wild, dude.
Isn't that crazy?
That's weird to think about, man. That didn't even cross my brain,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah, I'm not paid to stay on them.
No.
I'm paid to fall off these horses, you
Yeah.
know. I'm paid to get shot off, you know.
Yeah.
And then hit a mark.
Yeah.
And that's its own thing, you know, because a horse is going to carry you. As soon as you take your bullet hit, so you're going to take, like, where you get shot, that horse is going to pack you 20 feet. So then you have to, like, all right, we need you to hit this spot. So you got to figure out where you need to take your hit to even find that spot. It's all feel. But, I mean,
Yeah.
like, I don't know. That goes back to my rodeo. My rodeo groomed me for this, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, totally. Because if you're not selling it and like it doesn't look good, it's like you said, it's probably not going to make the cut, and then they're not going to like want you or whatever it might be. You know, there's so many things that it seems like could happen if you aren't hitting the mark, getting shot, selling it.
Yeah.
Oh man,
Yeah.
it's incredible, man. And how many people, even rodeo and including race horses, all that, get to make a living with horses still in this day and age? Not,
Yeah.
I mean, it's still a small number if you count
Correct.
even race horses, all that. You know.
Yeah. Yeah, not a lot of people, you
Yeah.
know. So
And a
yeah.
good living, you know, like
Yeah.
you got the folks buying the stables, you know, at the racehorse facilities and stuff, but not somebody who's, you know, getting to ride one, you know, and make a living out of it. That's huge, man.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's a small. I mean, there isn't a lot of people.
No.
I don't know. I mean, I know them. Like, I know people like me, but like, I mean, I count them.
Yeah,
You
that's
know?
exactly what I was thinking, man. You know, like, and yeah, like that's just wild to me that I'm fortunate enough to know one.
Yeah.
And the thing is too, like you said, you carry yourself so humbly, and no, I mean it's a tough thing to tell people. Anyways, if you're trying to be cocky, they'd be like, "What?"
Yeah.
But you know, like I've run into you at the cafe or something, and you're like dressed like me, you know, shorts and you know running shoes, and you know like just hanging out, grab a coffee and some breakfast, you know.
Yeah, like one thing too is like, I don't know. I mean, this doesn't go true all the way, but like you see somebody decked out cowboy gear, they're probably not a cowboy, man.
Yeah.
You see some guy in some shitty ass jeans and a t-shirt and a ball cap, you know, he's
Yeah.
probably a pretty good cowboy.
Yeah.
Cause like you have nothing to. I'll let my riding or whatever speak for itself. I don't need to look the part.
Yeah.
There's times I do look the part, you know.
That's
But it's not like I mean, I'm in sweatpants right now, you know.
Yeah.
Like, you wouldn't guess I know how to ride a horse, you know.
not just like not looking at, especially like at the gym and stuff
Yeah.
too. You know, like
Yeah.
you just look like a fit athlete, but you
Yeah.
wouldn't think rodeo. You
Yeah.
know, or especially stuntman. You'd be like,
Yeah.
what?
Yeah.
You're in Montana, like
Yeah.
talking
You don't
about-
have an agent?
yeah, exactly. You're
No,
not-
I don't got no agent.
Yeah.
Man. Word of mouth.
yeah.
Which is crazy too, because that's everybody's like, you got an agent? I'm like, an agent? What's that? You know?
Oh, that is wild
Yeah.
to think,
So
man.
I have no agent. I am my agent.
Oh, gotcha.
So like my phone rings, and I'm lucky my phone rings. You know,
Yeah.
for sure.
Absolutely, man, and you know, and the thing I want to talk about too, with the rodeo culture kind of coming back, which is great. It's been surviving, you know, but it feels like it's definitely getting a big up with Yellowstone, and I know some people get annoyed about it, and I even get a little annoyed because the valley's filling up here, and I love this place, but I'm also though like really glad. I'm really glad that so many people are getting involved in like coming back to the Western culture, and
I mean, the cowboy is the American hero,
yeah,
right? Everybody wanted to be a cowboy, and like that's what I tell people. I'm like, man, you shouldn't get annoyed with like someone dressed up like a cowboy who ain't a cowboy.
yeah,
Our culture's surviving. If it wasn't for that, then no one would even care. They'd be into Jurassic Park or something. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like, but like through Yellowstone, it's keeping our culture alive.
absolutely.
Everybody wants to be a cowboy now.
Yep.
You know, which I mean, yeah, we do. I mean, but I mean, our valley was gonna fill up anyway.
Yeah, it was exactly.
It's progress.
Exactly. Yeah.
You know, I mean, so it kind of sucks for us because it's changing, but like everyday life changes, you know.
Yeah.
But at least it's, you know, at least cowboys are in, because at the end of the day, I mean, you know, everybody wanted to be a cowboy.
Yeah.
It's
Everyone wants to have a chunk of land, man, and like
Yeah.
whether they got like a horse that they just stare at every day or a horse they ride, like it's still
Yeah.
cool. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, come on, you know, like I'm glad people are getting into it. And then, God, there's something else I was gonna tie into that too about the cowboy. Oh, hunting. You know, like I feel like hunting's kind of on the rise a little bit too with like Rogan and Meat Eater and Steve Rinella and I remember one time like, and I had to catch myself up a little bit too. I was hunting and around like my hunting ground and used to never see any orange, and all of a sudden I'm like spotting orange and orange and orange. You know, all these people in blaze orange, all these people hunting. And at first I was kind of annoyed, and I was like, oh, whatever, man. Like that's good. I'm glad. You know, I can go find elk. I can go find animals. You know, and especially like I'm in shape and I have horses. I can get back to where a lot of these folks can't get. And it's like, man, I'm glad though. You know, I'm glad these guys are out harvesting their own meat. You know, guys and gals.
Yeah.
You know, because they're getting some of the best meat in the world, and they're going and earning it themselves, man. You know, and it's been giving us a more, you know, like more money to put into things. You know, because certain money goes in the parks and stuff when you buy your tags.
Yeah.
So it's like it's helping for the economy. It just helps for the sport in general, man. Like gonna keep hunting alive instead of the more restrictions, I think. You know?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, no, it helps keep the culture alive anyway, you know.
Yeah, and like so all that Western culture that comes around with Yellowstone too. You know, I've never watched the show. I need to watch it. It's just one of those deals, man.
It's a drama. I mean, you know, it's okay. But it's good.
That's what I heard.
It's better than, you know, watching Law and Order. I mean, you know, but I mean, like, at least they're talking about the cowboy, and Taylor Sheridan will like randomly throw in some guy riding a bareback horse or some guy cutting a cow.
Oh, really?
That's not selling it, you know.
No.
But he's gonna show you that, which is super cool of him. Like, it'll be a minute of like some guy cutting a cow. Yeah. It has no story plot. No one's watching it, but like he makes you watch that.
Yeah.
To like, well, this is what it really looks like. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so like it's cool how he does it. You know what I mean? He knows that like he can't just have that guy and he's gonna be the #1 show. He's gonna have the drama.
Absolutely, man.
That gets you hooked, but at the same time he's gonna educate you a little bit too.
That's what I heard. That's what I was thinking too. Like you said, the education plus like the showing off all the cool spots and all the beauty that is, you know, our country, man. And I think that's important too.
Yeah.
And part of the reason why I'm holding back, it's not because I'm like, those guys aren't real. It's more because I don't want to get hooked. Like it's like Game of Thrones, you know. Like I never watched any Game of Thrones because like once you fall behind on those shows. And, like, I fell way behind. It's like, I'm going to lose, like, a month of my life trying to catch up on this.
Right.
And the same with, like, Yellowstone. Like, I need to just, like, take a weekend and just start
Winter time's a good time to watch it.
That's what I was going to say. Like, right now, you know, like, it'd be a good time to start catching up on that. And then the one, you know, the 23's in Butte, right?
Yeah.
Filming. And
yeah. That's cool because they show 23 is cool. It's different than Yellowstone. It's not so much drama.
Oh, gotcha.
So it's not like your drama Dallas, you know?
Yeah.
23 is more like these short stories almost like.
Oh.
But it shows Butte. And like Butte hasn't, so like we were filming downtown, and they like changed it a little bit, like the signs or whatnot, but the buildings are still look like 1923. So that's cool that he shows that history.
Yeah.
And the coolest thing about Taylor Sheridan is he shows Native Americans in all of his shows.
Oh, cool.
And he doesn't need to do that.
No.
And he tells the true story.
That's cool, man. See, like you said, with that 23, he's telling the story.
Yeah. And like 83, he tells the story. And then even in Yellowstone, he still tells a story of like what they're going through on a day-to-day basis, you know?
Oh, cool.
And like Taylor Sheridan did Wind River.
Oh, really?
Have you watched Wind River?
No, I know about it, though.
Wind River is about missing Indigenous women.
Oh, I don't know about that.
And he brought light to that. It's a crazy show, but Taylor Sheridan does that. He's a big fan of natives, and I mean, it's crazy that he'll tell that story.
Man, that's so cool. And and that's what I wanted to kind of talk about too, or I was going to tag on earlier, but you were in a good story, so I don't want to cut you off. But like that's like these shows are important, and I didn't know he's doing that much on it. Like that's so important to keep the culture and let people know, like especially you go to a lot places can't think of it off the top of my head, but the places that don't have Indians anymore. They used to have Indians, so it's like we're still here, like not so much me. I'm just a part, but like like you and folks living in the res, like still out there doing it, man.
Yeah, for sure.
They still exist, and like it's good to care about them, because they're part of all of our culture, Native Americans.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, it's cool. He tells the story and includes us because that didn't sound that ain't selling it either, you know.
No,
It's
yeah.
Beth and Rip selling the show. It's
Yeah.
not freaking, you know, Mo. He's the Indian on Yellowstone.
Oh, I
It's
get
not
you.
Mo.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But he's gonna put him in there. 'Cause
Yeah.
he's like, well, this is actually really part of it too.
That's cool. Because like you
Yeah.
said, like I've never watched the show, but I know Beth and Rip. I know the names.
Yeah.
But yeah, when you said Mo, I hadn't heard that
yeah.
one.
Yeah. He's an Indian in it.
Oh, cool.
He's kind of anyway. I ain't gonna ruin it. But
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, it's super cool.
Yeah, nice, man. And then one I was gonna say something about 23 too is being from Whitehall, which is right over the hill from Butte. I spent a ton of time in Butte. You know, it was like where we went for shopping, groceries, and a bunch of buddies. So hung around Butte. Me and my wife lived in Meadows for a while up on old restaurant, and was the bank before then.
Yeah.
And when they did like a little local news thing on it on 23, and they're showing how basically they're taking these old buildings that ever just like closed down and boarded up and haven't been anything since the 20s, like you said, or whenever the copper ran out, and they're just taking them back and polishing them and making them new again. So they're reviving Butte and these old buildings that the economy in Butte just didn't.
Shit, but economy in Butte was shit.
Yeah.
That was a $400 million show. I'm not saying $400 million went to Butte.
Yeah.
But a good portion of it went to Butte.
Yeah, and saved all these old buildings that were like falling in on themselves, man. I was like, that is so cool, because anyone who's ever been through Butte, especially years before this, you're like, man, you go through and be like, man, these are cool buildings, and none of us Montans have any money to put into that, but it's like, it's cool. You see the potential,
Correct. Yeah.
It's like, man, I remember the kid going up like Montana Avenue, up Butte, like going up that main road, and being like, man, this must have been like how San Francisco was back when,
Yeah, for sure.
because you could see like a trolley going down there and stuff, man.
Yeah. Yeah, it's super cool. I mean, even our little valley, like the amount of money they pump into here.
Yeah.
To our economy,
Yeah.
We might not see it personally, but like we do on a greater level,
Yeah, and people we know, people in the cafes, like the little Steve I Cafe there, Trapper Creek, and the Steve I Cafe too, it burned, but they were using it for like office buildings or something, so they kind of kept it alive.
Yeah.
Even though the cafe's not there anymore because it burned up,
Correct. Yeah, like the amount of money it pumps into our state. I mean, somebody ought to do some numbers on that.
Yeah.
It's not a bad thing.
No, exactly, man. And like I don't know, people get too hung up on it, and it's like, you can always focus on the negative of anything, I'm sure someone can watch my podcast and just be like, this guy, But if you're looking for it, you'll probably find it, and
Correct.
that kind of goes with happiness too, man. Like someone kind of told me that too about just life in general. Like if you're looking for something, you're gonna find it, whatever it is, So if you're focused on negative, you're gonna find negative.
Yeah.
If you're focused on positive, and like you're talking with the universe opening up, like you're gonna find that too, you know. So try to stay on the positive, man. And keep looking for the better, the silver linings, I guess, and like we were saying with the pandemic earlier, like opportunity, it's not all bad. There's some opportunity there,
Yeah. Be like a grizzly bear, find that opportunity and pounce on it,
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah, absolutely, man. And just going out and seeing the world too.
Yeah.
Well, shoot, man, I think that about covers it. I don't want to keep you here all night.
Awesome. Well, thanks for having me, man.
Yeah, thanks for being on. You got anything left? I don't want to.
No, I'm good.
Yeah. We'll catch up more on the next one, man.
For sure.
Dude, thanks again for being on, and we'll talk to y'all later.
Later.